Nice.
Yeah.
Yes. We're live. ALTBAYS Show brought to you by ALTBAYS.nz. We've been doing this for, I think, 20 weeks. This is show number 55. And we haven't even started yet. It keeps getting better and better and better. Thanks for joining us. It's a pleasure to be live one more time on a beautiful Friday night. 7 p.m. The whole family is united, having a lovely meal while Uncle Paul is drunk, just there. Can you see him? He can't see us. Hey, New Zealand families, nice to see you. On my left, Brad Soanes.
Hello, thanks for the great intro.
How are you?
I'm good, thank you.
Tell me something, man. Tell me something that I don't know.
I thought you were going to ask me how my day went, and I was going to say...
I always ask, that's boring.
It is boring because I just give the same response every time. It sucked or something like that, you know. I'll tell me something you don't... Tell you something that you don't know.
Yeah.
Oh, shit. I have a grandfather with only one leg.
Really? How did he lose his leg?
Lost it in World War II.
Oh,
to
shit.
the Nazis.
Really?
They call him Neil.
Wow. How did he lose it? Did they actually shoot?
Everyone who's watching this who knows me is laughing because they're like, I've told this story 100 times about my black granddad.
Say it again.
You want to hear the story about my granddad?
Yeah.
I'll try and run it real quick.
Yeah.
It's my dad's stepfather. He's African, so it's an interracial marriage. It's you know, and he what a start. And he fought in World War II, and he got shrapnel in his legs from a stick grenade in the trenches.
Oh shit!
And he got gangrene in them, or in one of them, and they had to amputate it off at the knee in the trenches. And then he stayed in the trenches and with only one leg. And
You'd have to stay. You wouldn't be able to get out with one leg.
No. They were like,
okay.
you can go. Like we'll shuffle you out on a bed or whatever, you know, on the stretcher.
Charge!
So he wanted,
no.
he wanted to stay and fight. So he reloaded their Bren guns for them, and would they'd hand them to him and he'd reload them and then carry on. And that was his effort until they were obviously moved on or whatever. And then he came home and got a medal for being a cool guy.
Nice. Thanks for sharing this story.
He got a medal for being legless more often, you know.
Yeah.
He's
dead now, but unfortunately died in the 89 or 90 or something. 90.
Sorry about that. Thanks for sharing his story, though.
I don't know why I had to bring up it was an interracial
It was good. It's better than
marriage,
asking. It was
Because you wanted to...
Because I said it was a black granddad, and I was like, I feel like I've got to justify this now, but I regret saying that.
It was good. This lovely gentleman here commenting and making beautiful insights with us tonight.
I'm breaking the ice for him.
Yes. Oh, yeah. Mark Tugendhaft. Did I say it right?
Pretty good, yeah.
Good enough?
Yeah, definitely.
How are you, Mike?
Shit now. I'm all right.
How does it feel to listen to your voice?
It's not very nice, you know. I've always thought I had kind of a high voice, and when I was in school, they wanted me to sing on the girls' side of the choir. It used to piss me off. I've never been able to sing since, you know. So now I'm hearing it, and I think, yeah, lucky you didn't, yeah.
It's pretty good.
Is it?
Yeah.
Oh, Nadula likes it, but...
Do you smoke?
No.
Did you used to?
No. I'll tell you a funny story about that.
Get it a little bit more. No, I'm not saying you should. No, you should.
The day that John Kennedy got shot.
Yeah.
My friend said, hey, Mark, I got a pack of cigarettes. You want to go smoke it? So we snuck out of school down by the water, and we smoked a whole pack of cigarettes and felt shit. And we were crawling back through the car park not to get caught, and the principal was standing there and says, while you were smoking, the president was shot. It's your fault, you know?
Oh,
I know.
no.
It was a really heavy thing to say to some little 10-year-old, whatever old I was. You know? Yeah. It's okay. I didn't vote Democrat anyway, but no, not kidding.
And surely not your fault, right? You had nothing to do with that.
It might have been. He keeps... so, you know.
Great story.
I know.
Were you good at school?
Yeah, I was like...
apart from that episode... Like,
apart from you murdering
from the presidents while having a smoke.
When I talk about my school, I sound like a schmuck who just likes to brag. But like I was in the top 5 or 6% of the whole U.S. when I came out of high school. Like, then I met Timothy Leary, and I wasted all that intelligence, you know, on growth. But yeah, I was good at school. But as it was put to me, when you go to school, there's a few different reasons. The main one is you know how to regurgitate back to the teachers what they want you to say because they feel good because you learned, and then you get a good grade. It's all bullshit. I taught high school for a couple of years down in Gisborne, science, yeah. And because I arrived from Auckland, I had surf shorts on. It was raining. Then I said raining. Now I say it was pissing down. And I had long hair and a beard, and I drove up to the headmaster's house, and I knocked on the door. I said, I'm your new science teacher. And he said, wait there. And he closed the door, and he never came back, you know. So I'm waiting in my car, you know, for about an hour. Then this car pulls up behind me, and it was this guy, Gregory, and he says, I'm the head of science. Come with me. You scared him, you know. So from then on, I got given... They used to stream classes. I don't know if they still do that. But I got 5 science F, right? F means failure, you fucked, something, you know.
Yes.
And I got in there and they said, they must not like you. They gave you us, you know. And so I had to tell them that there was nothing wrong with them, you know, because I realized, you know, you do good in school if you perform. You don't do good in school if you're an individual. So most of my friends by then, Kiwis, they'd... left school. They were plumbers, they were electricians, they were tradespeople. It was different back in the 70s, you know, like it wasn't like, I've gone viral. And so I tell them, you know, you're not dumb, you just don't like school, you know. Don't worry about it. So I used to have this trick because I believe I like to empower people. If I'm going to meet them, I might as well feel better when I leave. Of course, then they'll think he's a good guy. But basically, you don't want to bring people down.
Is that what you've been doing?
Yeah, I hate you, but I want you to feel good, you know.
Right,
but
thank you.
Smart.
Appreciate it.
Yeah. It's just like a T-shirt, and I thought you might give it to me. But
It's a great T-shirt,
yeah.
isn't it?
So I used to.
Tongue and Coffe LaLa. We're waiting tonight.
Oh, by the way.
Carry on.
So, where was that? Oh, yeah. So this was 5 Science F. I've met a few of them since, you know. And I used to tell them all the questions on the exams that were coming up. Like, they weren't going to study because there was so much. But if I told them one question was on the structure of a leaf, one question is on the life cycle of a frog, you know, then and they'd say, thanks, sir. And they go home and they'd study the 5 questions on the test. And it was like from the bottom of the class, they were getting top scores, you know. So we used to have this thing, if the headmaster comes in and we're having a Coca-Cola party, just put it all on the desk and start asking intelligent questions, you know.
There you go.
Yeah.
So wait. So wait. You already said science teacher, surfer, ex, long hair, man,
Hippie,
bearded,
I think you said.
hippie. Did you say
Yeah,
hippie?
yeah.
We haven't mentioned coffee roaster.
Yeah. I used to make pottery.
Pottery. Inventor. We can
I
call
have
it that.
invented a bunch of things.
Have you?
Yeah.
The coffee machine that he plugs in.
Super cool.
Yeah.
So was there anything that you invented and you really thought it would take off, or and someone would buy it, or someone
shit.
offered to buy it?
Yeah, you don't have enough time for all those stories.
Well, we got time for a few.
Oh, fuck. All right. Oh, we forgot to give the warning.
Can I just say something before you
Yes,
start?
please
Hold
do.
that one, and you can think about the ones that did succeed and the ones that you wish it had succeeded, but it didn't. So just before we go, because this is amazing, look at us. Hey, just remember, this show is brought to you by ALTBAYS.nz. We are a media support company. So yeah, we
Are you
got
doing the intro?
Yeah.
Okay.
Because I forgot.
Okay, fair enough. Yeah,
no, I didn't forget. We're just trying to do something different. So tonight we have a treat here. One of our supporters is Hannah Balinese Massage. Did I say it right? Oh yeah, fantastic. And yeah, she's going to give us a massage while we are hosting the show. How amazing is that?
That's pretty amazing.
And this is one of the things that she offers as a service. She goes to offices and businesses around town, and she can do like 5, 10, 15 minutes of massage on each of the employees. Is that correct? Yeah, so we're going to leave the number and the contact, Hannah's contact, Haneko's contact, and then you can get in touch and be nice to your employees because you already have them. So you might as well be nice to them. Okay? And Hanako is going to be nice to us, which is great. And if you are looking into increasing your online presence, all that beautiful stuff that you know that we can do, get in touch with ALTBAYS.nz. I just want to say something quickly here before we move on. This show is in memory and with a lot of love and soul for my friend who passed, Katarina Brinkley. It's a big loss for our community, and I just want to send all my love to her family. It's very sad when we lose artists, but they stay in the universe and their inspiration and love carries on with all of us. So, A big kiss for all the family. An invention that went on, did good, and one that you thought it would be good. Come on, Mark. Hit us, man.
Shit, I'll tell you, my first invention was 1963. I made a snowboard, right? 10 years before snowboards. We used to see, no, listen.
It's a good start.
Pardon me, this, you were supposed to say that this session may contain rude language. So people could...
Oh, yeah. You do that part. Look at this camera here. Look at this camera, and then you do that. We might edit and put at the start. Do it.
Can you... Oh, this isn't live.
Yeah, but we can edit later and pretend that we're cool.
For any of the viewers, this program may contain rude and foul language. It may contain things that could get me arrested, but in that case, I probably made it up. Okay.
Nice. Smart. Carry on. Inventions.
Oh, yeah. So I started surfing in 1962 in New York, right? And where I lived was by the beach. Guys like from a privileged Jewish family. We had a private beach, And over the sand dunes, which were covered in a meter of snow.
Did you have a private beach?
Yeah.
I love it.
Yeah. That's right. There's two. We let the odd Italian on, but mostly only had to be Jewish, You could tell, because we wore the funny hats. So
What's the name of the funny hats again?
Yarmulke. Yeah.
Can I wear one if I'm not Jewish because I'm bold enough?
Then no one will like you.
Thank you.
Okay.
And the Jewish people will sell me, right? That's what you said.
Yeah, I'll sell you anything you want.
There you go. I'll get two.
Did you hear about the new vegan delicatessen?
Oh gosh.
It's called Oi Vegan. Oh, anyway, sorry, that was one of my jokes. Anyway,
tell me your other joke that you said started off with when I first met you.
What was that?
You know the one.
The Jewish joke. I can tell Jewish jokes because I'm Jewish, right?
Yeah.
You can tell Brazilian jokes because
I can.
You're Brazilian.
Yes.
You can tell Kiwi jokes because you're.
Yeah, but who's allowed to tell pedophile jokes?
You should.
He was fast. Sorry, Brett.
No, true.
Tell us that joke that you told us.
We used to think he was a good driver. He slows down when he drives past schools.
Hit us already. I'm ready for it.
Which one?
Well, I just gave you a clue what it was about.
I can't tell that. My wife's here and she's going to say, you shouldn't have told that joke.
Fair enough. That's right then.
Fair enough.
Okay.
Carry on. Oh, there you go.
She gave the nod.
I have some control.
Stay with us, folks. There's going to be jokes in this show. We're just, warming up.
Okay. Snowboard.
Snowboard. First snowboard before the snowboard.
It was so cold, like the water temperature was -2 degrees, right? And they didn't have proper wetsuits then. You had to wear diver's suits, and there was about 10 mils of rubber on you, 10-foot surfboards, no leg ropes. We used to slide down the snow, slip across the ice into the water with snowballs and have fights. And when the snowballs hit the water, they didn't melt. They just floated like icebergs. Yeah. So anyway, one day I thought, shit, why don't we make something we can, because we had sleds. We'd go down the things in like little flying saucer sleds and things. Anyway, so I made a 6-foot surfboard out of plywood with my first invention and put a couple of straps on and went to the top of the biggest dune, shot to the bottom, totally out of control, ripped my boots off, hit my nose on the front of the board, and just left it there in the snow. And then 10 years later, there were snowboards, so I was ahead of them by 10 years. So that was my first failed experiment. But I have others. I had a game. I invented a game that was so good that every game company I showed it to said, "Shit, this is great. Can we have it?" And then it never went anywhere. I don't know.
Really?
Yeah.
How was the game?
How is it?
Yeah. How is the game? What was the idea of?
It's based on the Korean flag. It's called the Pakwa. It's got the heaven, earth, wind, fire signs around it.
I didn't know that. Thanks for teaching
if you look
me
at so there's like 3 reds, then there's 2 reds and a black, and then there's 1 red and 2 blacks, and then there's and it goes around 8 things. And I was looking at that once during my Tai Chi, and I thought that's a good board game. So I invented a game where you had to move around the board by having the right number pieces. Like if you had 2 red ones, you could do that, and you could move 2 red spaces. If you had a red 1 and a 2, you could move 1 black. And so you had to be picking these pieces and figuring which ones to keep and which to discard and what the other guy doesn't want. It's a great game. It's bloody great.
Didn't sell though.
It almost sold.
Did you try in Korea?
I went.
Yeah, it might be on the next Squid Games.
Hey, could be.
Yeah, I know. I went.
Some people might steal your idea now because the world is like that.
They never. No, I didn't give away that much. Come on.
Good.
Hey.
Wow.
Anyway,
Got me.
So anyway, it's a long, sad story, but it didn't happen, Then I invented a thing called the joint. Yeah, no, I didn't invent the joint.
Really
No, Bob
took
Marley
off.
invented that.
Really took off.
And it fixed. Bob Marley said,
Fixed
don't try to be
arthritis.
perfect. Don't try to be perfect. Just be yourself.
True.
Yeah. So it's a little plastic thing about the size of your finger, and if you break your leg rope, you put one in that, close it, put one in that, close it, and it fixes it so you don't have to stop surfing or leave the beach if you need a leg rope. So I made that, and Quicksilver said, we love it. So I had a mold made. A friend and I, it cost us $15,000 for the injection mold. And we made like 20,000 of these fucking things. And then Quicksilver has a final meeting. And of course, what's ruining the world are the banks and the accountants. So I mean, I like my accountant, but basically banks then. And they said, it's such a small item. We'd rather sell a new leg rope. And so it died. So I've got boxes of them if anybody wants one. And then what else? There was some more.
You should name it like something LaLa, LaLa joint.
Well,
LaLa joint.
What the fuck's so nice about LaLa joint?
I didn't say it's nice, but it might sell the stuff that you have stuck in your house.
Yeah, that's true.
The LaLa joint. People
now,
would be
no.
interested in it at least. They might not buy
Have
it.
you actually
but the LaLa
got? Have you
joint?
actually got them?
I've got a box of them still. I don't know where the rest. I don't even know where the mold is. But now leg ropes are so good they don't break like they used to break. It was like inventing a petrol engine today.
So it's probably one of those things that actually don't break, because nowadays everything's the opposite. You buy a blender and it breaks after a month. So the leg ropes are good.
Yeah, it's a safety thing. They're pretty
Fair
careful.
enough.
Anyway, what else? I invented a board game, and the guy in Australia said it's called Flip Pool.
That was your first problem.
Flip
Sorry.
pool?
A flip pool, and it was like a little pool table, and you had little tiddlywinks with the numbers of the pool balls on it and some blanks.
I feel like I've played that game. Did you actually get it made?
Yeah, I did. Yeah, I got.
I feel like I've played that game.
Oh,
you
sure, I
go.
got a few. Want to buy one? So I got a few thousand. You want to buy one?
I'm
Anyway,
dead serious. So was that a game? Did it turn into a game?
Yeah,
I'm
yeah.
pretty sure I'm.
Yeah, because we had to get rid of them in the $2 shops because
Oh, sorry.
at the moment that
Hope you got a cut. Hope you got a cut for my $2. Because you got to push down on it and it goes ba-ding and flips.
no.
Oh, all right, well, I haven't played the game. Then.
Oh damn! I thought I'd made it.
We tried. Next invention, let's see.
It's like tiddlywinks kind of thing.
Yeah, no, but this is a memory game. You remember where they all are, and then you turn them over. Then you turn over a stripe one, and you got to find all the stripe ones, and
Yep.
then the 8-ball. It's the same rules as 8-ball, but in memory. I thought it was great. This Australian company thought it was great. He goes to the game shows, and he calls up and he says, Ninja Turtles are the big thing this year. No one wants these. I can't sell them. I'll pay you for half of them. You'll have to absorb the rest. So, what else? There's a few inventions.
Mark, that's a pretty active life. How many coffees do you have a day?
Yeah, you're right. Yeah.
More than 2.
Yes.
More than 4.
Yeah. Oh, it depends.
It depends.
Yeah, if
On
it's
a
coffee
good
LaLa,
day.
I can drink 8 a day.
Oh,
if it's some shit like the other companies are making, I don't drink it.
Who name them? I want to hear the
Tell
names.
me more.
No,
Tell me more about Coffee LaLa.
It's
Tell
funny
me more.
because,
Tell me more.
It's funny
Tell me
because
more, Mark. Tell me more about Coffee LaLa, Mark.
it's quite. Coffee LaLa's bloody good coffee because
I know. I
No,
worked with it and I
because-
drank a lot.
there's a lot of companies. Oh, I'll tell you a funny story, right? I buy my beans from John Burton, from Burton Hollis, right? So David Burton ran the Burton Hollis, Gravity, Columbus, all these coffee things. If you have 3 companies, you can have 3 shops next to each other. And no one knows. It's yeah, it's a good idea. So anyway, I became friends with John because he's the bean importer, and he let me have anything I wanted to learn how to roast. And in the end, we became friends. So then one day, he says, "Hey, can I bring my father out and my brother, and we'll see your roastery, right?" So the father is like the Don of coffee, like, Burton Hollis. They were the first real big coffee company. So I'm thinking, ooh, this is pretty good, right? Better than Synagogue. And so David's like the best roaster in the country. He's roasted more coffee than, anybody. And he walks in, he says, "Oh, very cute setup. Yeah. I see you roast all your origins separately." I said, "Yeah, you gotta. Like, if you roast a Kenyan like a Colombian, it's under roasted. And if you roast a Colombian like a Kenyan, it'll be burnt. And the Ethiopian will be spoiled. So you got to pick the best point for each origin because they're all different. They grow in different climates, different rootstocks, different soils, you know. So African beans are quite dense and quite acidic. You got to roast them dark. And I studied all this shit in my head. Anyway, so David says to me, "Oh, it's nice for you little guys, but you know we roast 11 tons a day, and we couldn't possibly do that." I said, "Oh," yeah. He says, "Anyway, our philosophy is find the beans that roast together and roast them the same each time. Every roast exactly the same. Consistency is the most important." So I said, "Well, Dave, I try to make every roast better than the last. That's why it keeps getting better. You know, it's an art." Yeah. So the father's listening to this. He's like 90. And he says, like Don Corleone, "Hey, Mark, make us 4 long blacks and we'll see who's right," you know. So I make 4 long blacks, you know, just hand them out. And I swear, Jack takes 1 sip and he goes, "Dave, he's right." You know? Yes. So, yeah. Well, a funny story too, like, you know, Havana coffee. I like Havana coffee, you know. So Jeff, who used to run it, he sold it now to a Japanese company, but he got us our first customer up here. They said, "Can we use your coffee?" And he said, "Oh, you got coffee right there. Why would you buy bread from Wellington when you can buy it from the local bakery?" So anyway, so where was I going with this shit? Oh yeah, so one day Jeff calls up because he's a character, and he goes, "So who's got the best coffee in New Zealand next to Coffee LaLa?" And I think, fuck. So I just said another company. You know, I said, "Oh, Aotearoa." And he said, "What?" And he hung up. I never heard from him since. It's like 10 years, you know. That was it. He didn't take that joke well. But,
it's pretty cool that you do such a, like, you produce something that it's so highly consumed. And you're doing your best to keep it local, to keep it here. Because if you look at the top coffee producers in the world, like, I don't know the order, but like I'm sure Brazil is the first one, and then I think you have Honduras, Peru, Colombia. So like you see these countries that actually are not the richest, or like they have a great lifestyle for most of the people, and still it's one of the industries that would give more money. And then you start to understand this thing with the trade of coffee, you know, like just by what you're saying, you know, like by trying your best to consume something that is local, because I understand a lot of the countries and a lot of the people cannot produce that, you know, so they have to import, they have to bring from other places of the country or there. But there's so much value on doing something locally and appreciating that. So there's an art there, as you said. It's much more than just the art of flavor and everything. It's the art of paying attention to what's around you and what you're providing to people, right? Did I go too philosophical? And that's just because you told me that you're a philosopher as well. So I just thought,
I thought you were going to get into the...
I just found a segue.
I thought you were going to get into the sort of whole rip-off of coffee in the way.
We will.
Yeah, bloody Americans.
It's hard, eh? Starbucks, biggest one at the moment.
It's funny that I trained a guy, taught a guy how to roast coffee, Bjorn. He's a bloody good guy. He was here for 15 years. He couldn't get his residency because who needs a coffee roaster? But anyway, went back to Amsterdam. And he got a job with Starbucks. So I roast about, 6 tons a year. That's 6,000 kilos, right? And I said, "How much are you roasting?" Because, you know, he said, "Well, I roast 24 million a year." 24 million kilos or tons. I don't even fucking know. But, and he quit. He said it was just ruined the coffee. They just bought the cheapest crap. We always buy it. It doesn't matter what it costs. I don't even look at the price of the beans. If it's nice, I just get it.
Oh, you got that much money, eh?
No, I just don't make much money, you know. It's a difference between art and business, you know.
The bro's got a private beach, man. What are you talking about?
Yeah, I'm sure you're good at both.
You don't know. My ancestors are really they're really disappointed. Oi, Mark, what are you doing down there? Huh? You know, when you meet my relatives, they don't say, "How you doing?" They say, "How many people you got working for you?" You know. Yeah, true. So I don't meet them. Yeah.
How many times have you had a Starbucks coffee? A coffee from Starbucks?
When we were back in New York, I don't know, 10 years ago, we went to
Were you born there? Sorry, were you born in New York?
Yes, born in the Bronx. Yeah.
The Bronx, nice.
Oh man, have you been watching that series called The Author? It's about the making of The Godfather, but it's a great story. It's on... Anyway, I'll shut up. Anyway, yeah. I grew up in New York.
Good series. Shall we have a... Okay.
Yeah.
It's on Netflix.
No, it's on demand.
Netflix.
On
demand?
Yeah.
On demand. Oh, is it really?
Yeah.
There's quite a lot of good stuff on there just on demand, eh?
Yeah.
That Wu-Tang series is on there as well.
Really?
Yeah.
What? That's cool.
Yeah, they've got a few different ones. They've got the like of Mikes and Men. They've got the latest one that just another season's come out. They've got a couple of different ones on there. It's pretty good.
Thanks for sharing. I didn't know that. Okay.
And the author, is that what it's called?
The offer, like, I'll make you an offer.
Oh, the offer. Oh, yeah.
I'll make you an offer you can't refuse.
Yeah, you should have said it like that. Yeah.
The
Yes.
offer. The offer.
Carry on.
cool.
Sorry.
What were we talking about? Anyway, it's funny because
You got it back.
I
Yes.
was on the road to being a doctor. You know, my cousins are surgeons, doctors. You're a smart Jew fucker, you know. And then I started surfing, and I started surfing in '62, right? And by '71,
Where?
New York, Long Island, private beach. It's like Matarangi, twice as long as Matarangi, pure white. There's like 200 miles of white sand beaches, all sort of occupied by rich people. But, yeah, so '62 I started. '71 I was in New Zealand, $200 on a surfboard. So I was like 9 years, just flipped my life around. So instead of being a gynecologist who went to jail for bad behavior, I ended up living in New Zealand, did a bit of teaching, and then I started making pottery. And I made good pottery. I like my pottery. We had a wood kiln that was like bigger than this office. We used to start the roast at 4 a.m, right? The roast, I said roast, because making coffee and pottery are very similar. You got to control the temperature rise and soak. You got to look at the surface of the product. You got to look at the color. You got to look at the glazes. You got a very similar process. So it was like no big jump. Anyway, so I used to start firing my pottery 4 in the morning. Nadilka would sort of bring breakfast down, yeah, and then I keep going, putting wood in. It's a wood fire cut. Then she'd bring lunch down, then she'd bring dinner down, and my friends would come for dinner. Then I keep going, and she'd bring breakfast, and she'd bring lunch, she'd bring dinner. I'm still putting wood in this kiln, 51 hours till the final, like 7 meals without stopping. Now I get tired by 4 o'clock, and I just want to lie down. I feel guilty. You know?
Is that why you changed to coffee roasting?
To keep me up.
Yeah. And it's a shorter process.
The coffee roasting was like when the 1981, when the mining company, mining, we should talk about mining.
Yes, we should.
The first application to mine that we heard of was Waihi, right? Waihi used to have the Pi Electronics Factory. Maybe, I don't know if you guys were born back then, but it employed most of the town. And then one day this company started prospecting the hill next to it. The company just left town. Like 400 people lost their jobs. Then the company was saying, well, we'll employ 250 locals, like they're doing you a favor. Anyway, Nadilka found out about this because the next application to mine was in the valley where we live. All of Kuatuna was applied for by a South African mining company, right? Owned by Harry Oppenheimer, you know. I almost felt like calling up and saying, "Oi, Harry, what are you doing?" But I didn't. And so Nadilka went down to Waihi to find out what was happening and came back panicking. And then we started Coromandel Watchdog to stop the mining.
Coromandel Watchdog. Oh, that's how it was born.
Yeah, right there, 1980, 81. And then...
I wasn't born.
No, and we were fighting, you know, at that point, the mining law was written just to take land. You know, there's a few things I've realized, like, first of all, how privileged we are. Like, when you're privileged, you don't know.
Yeah.
Most people just look up and they think, oh, they got more, they got more. You don't realize who you're standing on, who got you there, you know. I didn't...
Especially when you're on a private beach.
First time, yeah, for sure.
Sorry.
It's true. I mean, before John Kennedy sort of allowed black people to come to my school, you know, they had to stay on the other side of the train track. It was like a bad country, it still is. But what were we talking about? Yeah, so
Sorry, mining.
You have these revelations, and
Do you, now
you go, because I forgot what I was going to say.
I was just thinking about the privilege thing, because my boss says something beautiful. I think his PhD or master was on that, and he said, when you don't have privilege, you know what it is. You know, when it's not part of your life, that's when you understand. How was that thing for you? Because from what you're telling us, like you fought against a lot of things that people in your position, that people who want to maintain wealth and a lifestyle, they will be very aware of, because they are most of the time highly educated people, but they just choose to turn the face and not to make sense of the problem that is causing to other people. And then you're telling us the story of you like surfing and getting into different things, and actually fighting against that, you know, like how when did that become a thing, when you were like making sense that it was not that correct?
The first time, I mean, that was back when I was in university in New York, and Timothy Leary came and he told us that we were very high performing Jewish boys, but really we were just high performing, and we were just telling the teachers they taught us well. We weren't really learning anything about life, you know, turn on, tune in, drop out. So about a year later, I was living in California in the 60s, you know, so, and I realized that, you know, when you're born, like life is like a road with little grooves in it. And there's these standard grooves: career, education, career, marriage, family, service. There's these grooves, and somehow there's always this pressure to fit one of those and live that. Right? Well, that all disappeared in the 60s. So. Then beating the draft, you know, like I was supposed to go to Vietnam. I'm like the slowest runner. I would have gotten up. I would have been the first casualty, you know. It's no way. And then you realize...
The guy without a leg would have been faster. Hey,
he was still alive at the time too. He probably would have outrun you for sure.
Oh, yeah.
He's used to chasing kids down.
And you can't run back into the sea. It's a long swim. But so I started protesting the Vietnam War. We went to one march in San Francisco. It was like 500,000 people march, and all these famous Bob Dylan and Buffy St. Marie playing music. And, you know, we basically went anti-government then. Before that, when I was 15, I tried to enlist in the U.S. Marines. It was because there's a Camp Pendleton right on the beach in California with some of the best surfs. You know, it's called Trestles. I thought, if I could join the Marines, get fit and surf, you know. And they sort of, I guess I wasn't the demographic, you know, this little Jewish boy not going to be a Marine, you know. I'd be too willing to make a deal with the enemy, you know. But so they refused me, you know. Luckily, I was too young. You know, within 1 year, I realized, that was close. Then they tried to draft me, which I had to avoid for a couple of years until I convinced them I was crazy. And then... Yeah, I did.
Did you convince them you were crazy?
Yeah, and they say if you can do that, you are. But yes,
like Catch-22 kind of.
Did you see Big Wednesday? It's a story about surfers exactly from that era. That's the story of my life right there. Yeah, and then I came here because Can
you give us some tips on like how to convince people you're crazy? Because I think people think I'm crazy, but I don't try hard enough. We would be good with some tips. I don't know. Brett looks very confident about playing crazy.
I don't need to.
He looks a different kind of crazy, like No Country for Old Men crazy. Like he's.
I like that movie.
I don't even know what that means.
I love that movie.
I know, but he looks like the guy with the nail thing.
You should watch it, and then you find out, man.
I know.
And then
am I a murderer?
Yes.
Yeah.
No.
With a what? With a nail gun.
Oh yeah! Did you see that in the movie? Bang!
I've never seen it.
Did
he shoot himself?
No, he used to just walk in and say hello, bonk, and kill people.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I don't know why he did that.
Poker face kind of.
Yeah,
just
maybe
like this.
I do need to watch that movie. Sounds good.
Yeah, I know you might find yourself.
Get a couple of tips.
I know, but don't start cutting people up with a plastic trowel. You know, you got to get a gun.
He's too good for that. His heart is too big.
I wouldn't kill anyone. When I was younger, I might have, but I've learned a little bit of love since then.
Have you thought about that? Like, did you look at a man and you were like, "I'll fuck you up"? Oh, yes.
No, I did. I did wonder when I was younger what it would like if I was going to join the army and be like, would I kill someone? Like, what would that feel like for me? And I was like, maybe I should join the army and find out.
Yeah.
And but I'm glad I didn't.
Yeah.
Because
same.
I'm not pro military at all.
I mean, that T-shirt says it all. You know, Tang is a sort of non-alcoholic orange drink.
That's right.
And if you really like it, you go, woo, Tang. Yeah, we can tell you don't drink even.
You can tell that.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Yeah. Nice. I like
we
that.
got it all. Did you like that? The drum?
Oh no, was that our little grandkids used to have a little sound machine. Every time I sang, they'd push it and go, wah, oh.
Do it. Got to find the button.
That's it. Oh, don't make me. I really miss them now.
We got it all.
I got that same thing.
Do you miss America?
No, I don't miss anything about it.
When was the last time you've been to America?
I used to go back to see my parents like every 2 years and see the kids. But one of our kids lives in Montreal. Yeah.
Okay.
So that's a really great town. So but then they're all dead now, so I don't bother. And the kids coming here this year.
Have you when you were going back? Did you get to travel a lot around America?
I just used to pull into California and see all my surf friends. I got this really neat thing. Like, you know, everybody puts Facebook down, you know, blah, 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 blah. But I started surfing, you know, I was 12 years old, whatever it was. And all my friends we started surfing in New York. And we all went to California in 66, 67, right? And they're all still there and they're all still surfing. And I'd lost track of them because 71 I left and I off. So one day I get this thing, Tugi, is that you? You're still alive. Shit, we're in New Zealand, we never heard from you. And so we contacted them all, you know. So whenever we went back, we'd pull in, we'd have a reunion. There's still friends there's this movie, it's about kids, oh shit, I forgot the name of it, Stand By Me. And it's this cute little movie about these kids that grew up and, you know, it's just like that. We have the same circle of friends like 60 years and we still love each other, you know.
Nice.
Yeah. So I miss them. But a few of them come out to visit since. But
it's a great feeling when you meet someone after years and years and years, and you talk to them like you saw them yesterday.
Totally,
it's such an amazing feeling.
Yeah. Totally, yeah.
Sometimes it happens like with me. I because I've been to Brazil once in these 9 years.
Yeah,
and I've been back. Yeah, I've been back once. Yeah, and I talk to my friends sometimes, like rarely, because there's the thing. Sometimes my dad asks me, "Oh, have you been in touch with your friends?" And I'm like, "Dad, nah, not really. You know, like life, it's here now for me, and I'm doing things here. And even the people here, for me, sometimes it's hard to catch up with them. You know, like life gets busy, and in a good way. I don't like to be like busy because I'm working too much and I cannot focus in my life. But just this takes a lot of time and energy, as you can see. You know." But I always tell my father, like, I know that whenever I'm back and when I reconnect with the friends that I really love, it will be that beautiful thing of like, I saw you yesterday and it's all good, you know, like carry on. Like,
but seeing as we're all going to live forever, you don't have to worry about that. Just leave it another 25 years. No, sooner the better, because as Ricky Gervais said, it's later than you think.
It's true.
Yeah, it is. Any second you get squashed like an ant. Yeah.
So. How was the closest you've been to death?
I wanted to write a book, you know. One of the chapters was that you got, because there's so many times I should be dead, but then I realized, no, I'd be a hypocrite, you know. Like, you know, faith is the belief in something that has absolutely no evidence. I can't live like that, but so that I wouldn't change it. Yeah, most of the times I was close to death. Maybe only once surfing, but other times was driving, you know.
Yeah.
One time I was driving over the hill. I was going to a Tai Chi lesson in Auckland, and I was late. And the master was going to be there from Taiwan, you know, and I couldn't be late. So I'm doing like 120 in my Cortina. I go over the top of this hill. It's a light rain, you know, which sort of was all right.
Doesn't help.
I get over the top, right over the top of that big hill out of Kuratuna, over like I don't know what they call the Boomer Hill. And there's a house in the middle of the road being moved. No signs, nothing. And so I'm like, no more than 50 feet from crashing into this house. And so I turn away from it, and then I correct my speed, and the bonnet of the car goes underneath the overhang of the house, the whole length of the house. I get to the end, and I'm thinking fast enough to think, shit, you're going to roll. So I straighten the wheel, and straight, halfway down the bottom. By then, I'm like, you know, the Flash. There's a guy at the bottom with a sign, slow down, you know. I was so pissed off. I got the window down. I had to wind the window down and said, fuck you, and kept going, you know.
Did you feel like you were like a NASCAR driver, though? Like,
no, I didn't have time. All I thought was, I got to get the...
Like it was Fast and Furious in the 70s or some shit? Like, you know,
it was exactly like that.
Just, yeah.
Hey, another time I was growing up, I don't drive like that anymore, so... And if the police are listening, I'm making this all up. But I was driving up the hill to Coral Glen, and there's a milk tanker in front of me, and he's going so freaking slow. So I think, right, there's a straight here. I pull out past him to pass him, and he speeds up. I'm going, no, and it's a light rain again. And then at that moment, a Kenworth truck comes around the turn, and I could see the K on the grill and on the radiator. So I swerved. I had a nice Commodore then. I swerved to the right, and then I was going to crash into the cliff. And I corrected it and came to a stop. And he was braking the whole time. So when he finished, I was pinned between the truck and the bank, right? Nothing touched. It was like perfect, you know. So he's out there, and I'm waiting for him to move his truck, and he's looking under the truck, because the last thing he saw was the front of my car underneath his truck. And so he came and he says, "Buy a lotto ticket, asshole, and learn to drive." Yeah. Yeah. Anyway,
Sounds like light rain is your enemy.
yeah. So he pulls away, and the bloody truck driver who wouldn't speed up he had stopped, and he went, "Nice one." And so I gave him the old New York finger, and then I went to drive away. I was going to a Watchdog meeting. There was a lot of meetings back then, like every 2 or 3 times to Thames to a meeting. Anyway, and I go to put my windshield wipers on. Well, on these Commodores, there's one stick. It's got the wipers, it's got the lights, it's got everything in this one control stick. And it wasn't there. And I'd moved my hand so fast, I'd ripped that whole control out, and it was sitting in the back seat, So that was close to death, But I still, I'll tell you a joke about God. There's this atheist.
Which God? Yahweh?
The God that everyone believes in.
The Jewish one?
Have your pick,
Okay.
The one that killed the dinosaurs, and then you think, well, we'll do the people next just by overcooking them. But anyway,
He's killed them off a couple of times before that.
No, we've only been around for 62 years. Didn't you know that? So
Is that?
there's this atheist. He's walking, total atheist. He's walking through the woods in Canada, and a bear starts chasing him because there are bears there, and he's running as fast as he can. And he trips over, and the bear's leaping through the air, and he can smell the bear's breath on. It's going to crush his head because that's where they attack, And he goes, "Oh God, save me! Oh God, save me!" And the bear freezes, and time stops, and he hears his voice. "So now you believe." And he goes, "Is that you, God?" He says, "Who else would be talking like this?" He says, "I do believe now. I can hear your voice. You are real. Oh, I've never believed in you before." "Well, then I'll save you." He says, "Well, now that I believe in you, I don't want to lie to you. When I said, oh, fuck, oh, God, I could have said, oh, shit. I just said, oh, God. Everyone says that. They don't have to believe in you." And God says, "Well, that's a bit of a dilemma, isn't it?" He goes, and the guy says, "Hey, I have an idea, God." "Yes, what's your idea?" He says, "Make the bear a Christian." And God says, "Yeah, that'll do." So, boom, everything comes back to action. The bear sits down next to him, just smiling at him. And he's thinking, "Oh, that was close." He's getting dressed, and he goes, "Thank you, Lord." And the bear says, "Yes, Lord, for what I'm about to receive, I truly thank thee." Yeah.
Yes!
Anyway,
Great.
that's my God joke.
Thanks for sharing stories about Jews and bears.
Yeah.
Pretty good. Now my question is, you were talking about the South Africans and all the mining
Oh,
thing.
yeah. When mining started in New Zealand, when they came back in 1980,
Yes.
they had 100 applications to mine the Coromandel. And they were saying...
many?
100. And they were saying...
Shit.
They were saying, "Oh, it's 1 in 1,000 chances we might get one mine." But they were lying, because they weren't looking for gold. They were going back to the old mines with new technology. So in the old days, when they stopped seeing the gold in the rock, they just stopped. Now they can take a hunk of rock the size of this table, 2 tons, and they find 2 grams of gold in it. So they don't have to see it. It's microscopic gold. So every single prospect they looked at, they applied to mine. It was 100%. Right, so they were lying about the chances of it. Anyway, the Mining Act was written when they wanted to take land. They're like, that's another whole thing about New Zealand that's come to me. I'll talk about it. But the Mining Act said you don't need. Do you want me to stop?
No. I was just checking the door because Taylor left it open, but he's coming back. Sorry.
Someone could get in here and shoot me. So they could take your land without your consent. They could move in. They just had to stay 100 feet from your house or your garden, and they could mine. If you prospected and found gold, you had the automatic right to mine. When you finished, you could leave your waste on the land and leave, and it was the landowner's problem. So it was just a land grabbing thing for minerals. They all went to England.
So is that our local government permits that?
Well, I'm talking 1980, yeah?
Yeah.
And no act could touch the Mining Act. There was no planning conditions. There was no anything. Mining Act was a specialized act. So when they said to us, "We're coming on your land," we had to say, "No, you're not." When their trucks turned up, we had to cut the tires and we had to stall them. Then we went to the Environmental Defense Society and we had to start putting legal impediments, yeah? There's only direct actions that actually worked in the end. But anyway, so over so many years, our group, Watchdog, which was a really effective group, I hear all this shit, all these great things, but Watchdog seems to have been forgotten.
How many of you do you reckon you guys had at the time?
Well,
like at the peak of the...
Oh, no. At the peak, we had like maybe 10 community groups. Colville, Coromandel, Thames, Aotearoa, Whangamata, Kuatunu, Whangapo. We had groups in each one, and we were like an umbrella of all of them. And I went down to Wellington at least once a month, spoke to prime ministers, like, we were like a powerful group because we had marine biologists and we had all sorts of stuff, and we had lawyers. Basically, we had to change the Mining Act, and we had to, and it was not easy. And the only reason we had any leverage is because every single time a mining company turned up with a drill rig, we'd sit on the rig and we'd put nails under the tires of their trucks, and we basically stopped their work. And we did that for like 15 years. So I hear all these protests and I think, oh, yeah. Like I was at the Springbok tour, trying to pull the fence down too, fuck them. But the mining thing went on for 15 years. Fantastic. That's why I stopped making pottery and I ended up making coffee,
What were the biggest victories for the Watchdogs when it comes to like politics?
Well, we separated, the first thing we did, we separated mining from prospecting. So it used to be, if you went onto anyone's land, and usually it was Maori land because like they owned most of this place 100 years ago. Yeah, that whole rip-off thing's really come to me, So they could just find gold and mine automatic. So we got that split. My friend Peter Verschveld and I wrote a paper called The Undermining of New Zealand, and we showed all the licenses. And we went to, it was the Muldoon government. Like that guy was a pig. And we said, look, here's 1,100 applications for minerals over all of New Zealand's mineral fields, right? If you sign them, they have the right to mine our whole country. Yeah, and there's no controls on it. And he sort of didn't believe us. And about 2 weeks later, they changed that. And they separated. So that was a great victory. Then we had to, mining was not subject to planning. Like, you could have a mine anywhere you want. Like, right in the middle of Kuatunu could have been open cast mine. So we had a whole bunch of political lobbies on that. And eventually we succeeded in getting them to put mining subject to the Town and Country Planning Act. Then there was they didn't need landowners' consent. They could just come in and take your land. So we allied with Federated Farmers and things like that and had a pretty big campaign and basically got landowners' consent. Yeah, which didn't really help us in Kuatunu because the South African company bought the land, so we got the consent for them.
Is it because of the crown or that thing that they would say that like I don't know how many meters or centimeters under the ground, like it belongs to the crown, and then they would be allowed to do that kind of deal? Is there anything to do with that, or I'm just talking nonsense?
The crown owns all the minerals under you. Yeah, that's right. So
that's a hard one to fight, because it really shows how much colonization and power and all those things are still very... Is it still a thing in New Zealand? Because I hear that often, but is it still a thing nowadays that like the crown actually owns?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. But we sort of thought we won. We even got the Coromandel conservation land and all the national parks closed to mining without the consent of the Minister of Conservation, right? These are all brand new things that our group won. I'm claiming that because we did. And of course, we got a conservation minister like Magri Barry who just said yes. So we we never quite won, but we drove them off. One of the funniest, it was funny, like one time they were in Kuatunu and they were going to move their drill rig and we blocked it, And I got arrested as usual.
How many times have you been arrested?
Most of the time.
Most of the time?
They just let me go. But
good.
Anyway, this time we're sitting on the drill rig up in the top of Kuatunu, right? 30 of us get there at 4 a.m. There's one Samoan bodyguard there. He's sort of saying, so I didn't get paid to fight 40 people. We said, how'd you want a cup of coffee? Yeah. So we gave him a cup of coffee and he let us through because there was 40 of us, 30 or 40 on it. We got on the drill rig. And so when the miners arrived, they couldn't drill. So anyway, police come. They say, you got 2 minutes to get off and you'll all be arrested, yeah? So I get right off because our plan was you'd get off and when the police left, you'd come back, it didn't matter what time. So I got off. They said, oh, you're under arrest anyway, I said, well, I got off, He said, yeah, but it's your fault. Anyway, so they put me in the car. So everyone gets off then, and they start trying to turn the police car over, like smash, just like the movies. I said, don't do that. I'm in here. Don't. They stopped, and the cop says, good call, Mark, And they drive us out. Anyway, we get onto the blackjack, and they pull over to this view where you can see the sea. I said, oh, is this where you're going to throw me off and say I jumped, And so the cop says, because the police were good about it, The ones they brought in from the Red Squad, they brought in from the Springbok Road, beat everyone up once, but the local cops were good. And they said, no, I want to show you where we fish and why we want you to win. So that was good. So I said, oh, can I go now? No, you're going to town. I said, really? So they drive me all the way to town. I said, you're going to lock me up? Nah, just hassling you like they hassled us. You can go. So I said, well, on the way in, the radio went and it said, hey, we need an escort out of Kuratuna. They've delayed our drilling for like 2 years now. We've lost $50,000 a day. We can't afford to stay here. Can you get us out? And the guy said, yeah, what time? 4:30. So I'm hearing all this, Anyway, we get to the cop shop and they said, you can go. I said, oh, don't I get my one phone call, Yank shit. And they said, yeah. So I ring up Nadilka and I said, hey, Nadilka, they're moving him at 4:30. Get everybody ready,
Right.
So you should have seen the looks. Get the hell out of here. Anyway. So we blocked them, so we wouldn't let them leave Kuratuna until we said, okay, don't come back. Yeah. In the meantime, we've set up a roadblock on the Coromandel Hill, so they couldn't get through there, So anyway, there's a whole bunch of stories around this.
Okay. So hold it for a minute. Because the thing is, this is the best job in the world, right? We sit here, we get to chat for like 2 hours and have a lot of fun. But if this was like a stressful office environment, we would be pretty much like, let's say, if it's an 8-hour shift, we would be stopping now for a break, like halfway through. And
you call it for a massage.
If you are smart enough and you work in a cool place like ALTBAYS, you would have the awesome employers bringing Hanako. Come here, Hanako, please. Yes. So Hanako is the owner of the Hana Balinese massage. Is that right, Hanako?
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
Thanks for having me, Leo.
Oh, thank you for coming. And one of the cool things that Hanako offers is this office massage. So you can give her a call and say, hey, come here for the morning or for the afternoon and give my client, the people who work here for us, 5, 10, 15-minute massage. And she goes around, she makes everyone's happy, and then you feel good to carry on with your work. Isn't it a great idea? It's a fantastic idea.
I think it's absolutely fucking amazing.
Isn't it, Brett?
Yes.
Imagine you're there plastering everything and then your boss comes and say, Brett, no, take a break, bro.
Take a break.
No.
Not for a smoko, not even that one, because you have the one, but like just a massage, 15 minutes.
Take away your pain.
It's pretty amazing.
Hey, I'm going to
Take away massage. Take away your pain.
I already can't wipe the smirk off my face. I'm like so excited.
Thank you very much for being excited. So we're going to be polite and allow Hanako now with her fresh, strong hands to start the massage with Mark, if it's okay.
Ugh. Yeah,
sorry.
you go first.
So Mark, you relax, man. Sit back and relax.
It's all right.
He who talks most,
Because I'm going. So,
Jesus. Oh, that's nice.
there you go.
Buddha.
Hanako, don't go super hard unless he starts to tell the jokes that he shouldn't, and then you get mine.
Now you can tell that pedophile joke.
So what we're gonna do now that everybody's sorry, say it
I
again.
was like, just asking Mark about the pressure.
Is the pressure all right?
Yeah, shit.
It's way less pressure than being in this show, isn't it?
When you're this age, you're half dead. You got to really push, Oh, yeah.
So, if you would like to do these beautiful things with the people at your office or wherever you work, so have a look. We're going to put the Hanako's contact for you, and at the end of the show, we're going to repeat them so everybody can get in touch. Now, I have a question here, and it's something, I just want to bring it to what's happening now and try to make a connection with how high-tech and connected and in need, I don't know if that's the best word, but like we've been using a lot of...
What was that word? This is your second language. What was that word?
In need of something.
Oh, in need. I thought
In need.
it was some other sort of Frenchy thing.
We'll get... French is
Yeah,
fancy.
in
You called me
need.
a Jew before and now French.
You look a little bit French.
I'm king.
You look a little bit French.
Oh,
Yeah.
thank you. I'm loving
Pierre
this.
Berg, you're nice.
Do you know... Can you speak French?
Oh, That's the only. I'm so bad at language, but we just parle un peu de français. Oui.
I cannot.
That's okay.
But I'll give it a go. So my question is,
Yes.
I love what you're saying. I love the movements. I love all the fights and the care for the land and for this place that you were not born at, but you made it home and you love it and you found the people. I love all the thing. My question is, do we need mining in this world that we live on? Because what it feels to me is like there's a lot of groups.
I was going to ask that
Wait. Oh, sorry. Thank you.
Yeah.
It's a good.
Great.
I thought you were coming with some, but
No,
I just
you're
want to complete the question. Because the thing is, I understand and I appreciate people fighting a cause where they live, but I also appreciate when these groups connect with other groups around the world. So it's kind of like two questions in one. Did the Watchdogs get to do that, to actually collaborate and talk to people around the world to see what was happening? Because just like we mentioned with Coffe, where a lot of countries get fucked over by mass productions and everything, we know that a lot of countries get fucked over by mining because maybe they don't even have the education
Whole continents
or the
even.
power enough to fight against mining. So like, I just want you to give us a little bit about your views on this world where it seems like we need the minerals, we need the things to create stuff.
Okay. Oh, shit, that's a good question.
Yeah, because now you have a massage there so you can chill and, give us the juice.
Yeah. So basically, this is pretty odd.
It's better than that show that they give pepper to the guests. They give have you seen that? They give like chilies for the guests to eat. So we're actually being cool. We're giving you a massage.
You get a bit of chicken, and some
hot
super
sauce.
This is pretty hard to concentrate when it feels so good. All right, tell me. So basically, there's enough gold mined. We've just done gold, right? There's enough gold mined already. It's not being used. It's actually an investment. Like all the gold from New Zealand, right? All of it. We don't have a gold reserve. It goes through Merrill Lynch, the old company that John Key worked for. It was shut down and refloated by the Bank of America.
That's why you hate John Key so much. I understand now.
No, also he sold our assets and he let people. We were in Hong Kong.
Sorry, is this directed at me now?
We were in Hong Kong.
I'll take it.
And
sit back, Mark. Relax,
I
man.
fucking can't. This is too nice.
Relax.
Hey, it's just like talking during sex. I never do that. So, shut up. So,
no, ignore John Key. Yeah, the gold in New Zealand goes out. Merrill Lynch.
Yeah, Merrill Lynch. It goes straight to there, and what happens is
the partners here looking at us like, what the fuck am I doing
the
here?
gold.
God.
We don't get anything. Like we're supposed to be able to tax the profits of this company, but if you're a company working in New Zealand for an Australian or a Canadian company, you mine the gold and you send it home. You don't make a profit off your own company. So the gold's leaving New Zealand at nothing. It's leaving New Zealand at the cost of extraction. So it costs them $450 an ounce or whatever it is to get the gold. The company pays that, and it's their gold. And once it leaves the shores and it goes to Merrill Lynch, it's worth $1,800 US an ounce. So when it leaves here, it's like the aluminium smelter. There's no profit. The company working here just gives the finished product to their company, a transfer price.
So why do we allow it to happen?
Because when we were in the middle of the Watchdog thing, I met with the round table. They were like this. They were like the big, the internationalists, right? I don't believe in internationalism, but so they said this guy named Richard Kerr, I think his name was. He was a nice guy, That's one thing I learned is even if you disagree with someone, they don't have to be an asshole. There's only a few people you can disagree with and hate them and call them non-humans. But he was a good guy. And he said to me, Mark, you're like a dinosaur. I said, shit, really? And he said, yeah, the world is moving into one large economic wheel. New Zealand is either on the wheel spinning with it or you're out in the woods like Gaddafi. This was like a year before they killed him. Yeah. So I said, I'd rather be off the wheel then. And so basically, our GDP and our sort of donation to the one world economy is our minerals and our this and our that. And without that, what are we worth? Where's our credit rating? So basically, the way I read it is, we say yes to the mining, and that's $1 trillion worth of gold going out every few years, and that's our collateral for being in this economic circle and being able to borrow what we want, being able to sell where we want. So basically, I think it's the one world economy that's continuing this, and basically it's 100% rip-off. If you were to get an answer from Parliament, which you never could, is how much tax are they actually paying at YE? How much have we made? You never get an answer. This is like confidential business stuff. Basically, the way I read it, and I've never been to a nuclear war, but I know it's not going to be good. The way I read this is they're just totally ripping us off. It's just international colonialism now, total exploitation. GDP just doesn't mean anything. If it doesn't mean how well your people are doing, it means nothing. It's just, yeah.
The big guys, just the ones playing the cards, just the ones dealing it.
Oh yeah, the John Keys of the world that think that it doesn't matter if our trains are fixed by Chinese workers when the New Zealand workers need the work, because we've signed this sort of wider sort of internationalism thing. I mean, we were talking the other day about being nationalistic or nationalism. Like, I basically love each country to have its own identity. We used to, when I got here, my socks were made in the South Island, my Norsewear, they were like two-tone brown and tan, heavy wool. So now it's all imported, everything, even the shirts, made in China, and it's not necessary. It's actually, and like our timber. When I moved to Kuatunu, like in '74, which is a long time ago, I could walk from my house to Coromandel. I could walk then, and it was all bush, native bush. And then one year under Muldoon's forestry subsidies, they just burnt 100,000 acres, whatever it was, and now it's all pine forest. Oh, we needed the jobs, and timber's going to be. And then they bulk sold the trees to a Malaysian company who can take the trees out to Malaysia. They don't have to pay anything. They own the trees. They're not selling them. They're taking them to process them. Then they sell us back the timber. It's like the stupidest deal could be made. And that's why internationalism doesn't work. So I'd like us to be, I mean, you don't want to be nationalistic like, oh yeah, fucking Frenchmen. You don't want to be anti anyone, but you want to be pro your country.
Yeah. Well, mainly because the people around you are the ones that will fight for you, protect you, support you. So you got to have that mentality, right? That's why we were saying before, work with your community, be part of the community, and think globally. Because if you're doing good, if you're supporting the people around you, and if everyone could think like that, I think it would be a better way out, right, for the situation that we see ourselves.
So this gold again, there's more gold per ton in electronic waste than there is in a ton of rock. If you take a ton of old phones and computers, you'll get more gold than a ton of YE rock. The other thing about gold mining companies, this OceanaGold, which we were fighting, they want to, I don't know if you know Whangamata. If you go south of Whangamata, there's virgin bush. It's unbelievable. It's got the largest population of native frogs. It's just, if you walk in there, you get lost. In fact, it'd be so nice you wouldn't want to be found. Anyway, they want a tunnel from Waihi underground, a tunnel big enough for Kenworth trucks, underneath this top quality conservation land, and mine out all the gold. Just stay 50 feet from the surface, and they're saying you won't know we're there. So we have to fight that, right? The DOC and the Ministry of Business Employment and whatever the fuck, MB, they're all in favor of it. They sort of say, well, it's not on our land. There's a lot of gold in it. They don't realize, if I say, yeah, but we're not getting the gold, that doesn't matter. Yeah, but if they dig these giant tunnels, they're going to cause acid mine drainage. It's going to be a river's worth of mine drainage. Who's going to treat that when they leave? What's going to happen to the surface water? Is it going to just fall through collapses and drain all the little streamlets, kill all the native frogs? All of that shit's not being looked at, and we just have to stop them physically.
But it makes 1,000 jobs.
Oh, that's funny. When they came to Kuatunu, right? When they came, listen to this, 1,000 jobs. Yeah.
Is that how many it is? I don't know. I'm just guessing.
No, it won't
But
be.
I bet you that's the argument too, though, right?
No, they'll just keep their 200
How
jobs.
was it,
Thank
Mark?
you.
How was the massage?
That was great.
Oh.
Got your 15 minutes. Sweet. ALTBAYS providing.
Okay. Right, I'll take that
Try
off my
and
bill.
relax.
Hey, so,
Thank you. Very kind.
you're talking about ripoff. El Salvador had decided that 70 to 80% of their fresh water was polluted by mining activities. So they tried to stop this Oceanic Gold from mining this prospect that they'd proven. And Oceanic Gold, under the North American Treaty, whatever the fucking internationalist agreement was, took them to the World Court, suing them for not letting them mine, even though El Salvador was trying to protect their own water, right? I think they lost the case, which was good. But that's the extent they'll go to. So.
Well, because that's the thing. They know that only a handful of nations or people or groups will take to the extreme of make a complaint out of it. A lot of the other countries, as I just said, they don't have this potential. They don't have this idea that you can actually fight back. So they just keep taking advantage of a lot of places out there. However, like, do you see any, I don't know if the word is negotiation, but like, do you see a way that things could work better? I know that even I don't believe in that because I'm pro like the fight, as I said, but like I gotta ask the questions, right?
I used to think, oh, well, you can't mine Coromandel. It's too wet, it's too steep, it's too green, it's too much fisheries around it. It's not the place to mine. Go mine Australia where it never rains. But that's Aboriginal land, so I can no longer say that. I just say there's enough gold out being invested in for that whole argument of you have a radio, you have a phone, you can't stop gold mining. No, bullshit. There's a chunk of gold bigger than this room just sitting there for the next 400 years. There's enough gold. And it recycles. It's a really...
Yeah, I've seen Die Hard 3 as well. There's a lot of gold. Like, just wait. Have you seen that movie? Die Hard 3?
Yeah, I probably did, but I don't remember the gold.
It's bloody
bit.
great. It's all
3.
gold.
Die Hard 3. They got that
It's
far.
probably the best one. Yeah. And they have all the rubbish trucks just full of gold. It's like Fort Knox, but it's not even Fort Knox. It's just like some bank, you know. And I actually did some Googling, like, semi-recently, not because you were coming on, but like how much gold there was on the planet. I can't actually remember the statistic, but it's a shitload of gold.
Yeah.
And it's all just held on to. Like,
totally.
we have the bit in electronics and stuff like that.
And like it leaves,
jewellery or whatever, but apart from that, it just sits there, right? Just to maintain
and the gold
its
that
value,
is here,
is that right?
Oh, it just, you buy it, you don't even own it. You can invest, I'll give you 1,800 an ounce, and next month it's going to be worth 2,000 an ounce. You just say, right, give me my $2,000. You just play investment on the value of it. That's all it's doing. It's a total international ripoff. I know it. I'm just a schmuck. You know, you would think people running the country wouldn't put up with it, but they do. It's real weird.
Well, because when you see people running the country, you mean like politicians, but they actually follow a big agenda, and they're actually listening to the people who run the banks and everything, right? At the end of the day, there's much more behind the power that we think that they have, right?
I know, but when in the early days, like when David Longy was Prime Minister, he listened to us. He just said, right, no more licenses on the Coromandel. We haven't until we figure this out. You know, it was, but at some point, and I still blame Roger Douglas and that asshole. But at some point, we just gave up our sovereignty and just threw it to the World Bank and. You know,
when you said something about like you just gave an example, you were like, oh, go somewhere else, go in Australia, and then you
can't say that.
I know, but like from your experience and because you know what mining is all about, if you consider just like land, not like who owns the land or who has the power over it, are there possibilities to do mining and to go for it in places where it actually is okay to do it? Because I'm actually ignorant to it. I understand that in the biodiversity that we have around here, maybe it's not great, but like, as you said, like I wouldn't say go and do it in Australia because it's not my place, but like, would it be an okay thing to do in areas that are actually not people and no nature or not?
Antarctica, the moon, an asteroid.
No, you see.
I don't know.
Oh, no, but then
really
there's a bigger question that leads to, like, we're trying to save the planet. Do we need... Like, we should be making cars that are made of captured carbon dioxide turned into organic plastic.
Because we know how to, right?
Yeah. We shouldn't be mining iron anymore for cars. You know, there's carbon fiber that we could make that, and we could capture carbon from the atmosphere, make carbon fiber that's stronger than steel. There's whole technologies. Like, we shouldn't be going to lithium. We should be going to hydrogen. Everybody will argue about that. It's not efficient, but it's clean. So... That whole thing, should you against all mining? Well, most of the mining we don't need to do anymore.
Fantastic.
We can stop that. We don't need coal mining. We don't need, except the people on the West Coast say, well, we need jobs. We need to find other jobs.
What about a Huntley Power Station?
Yeah.
Sorry.
Exactly. Shut it down.
That's a bad joke. The
It's all about
Well,
the
I'll
jokes
tell you what.
tonight.
This is the other less optimistic view, which I often have. We're on the Titanic. Every room is a different lobby group. Like there's the Greenpeace room, there's the Watchdog room, there's your thing. We're all talking about, oh, we got to save the planet. Oh, we're just painting the room and we're coming up with good ideas. But the ship is being driven faster and faster by this international banks, and they're not showing any concern, right? So until we actually get into the front room, what do they call the front? The bridge? Until we get into the bridge and shoot the captain and stop the ship. So basically, we're going to talk till we die. And unless we do something. Well, I went to university. I started in 66, right? In 67, I was in San Diego State University. And the first time they'd introduced a course called ecology. It was early. And the first things they talked about were clearing of the rainforests, the greenhouse effect from too much fossil fuels, overfishing the seas. This was 1967, and nothing was done. And now it's this, So unless something drastically changes, we should just really have a good time and it's all over. That's some, But at the same time, if someone was going to kill me, I would fight back. Even if I was going to die, I can just sort of say, yeah, take me,
Speaking of having fun and dying, were you the Doors fan? Are you?
The Doors?
Yeah.
I met Jim Morrison. What? I was surfing in San Diego, and we went up to this little...
He was floating. Was fat Jim Morrison?
No, he was at a sexy stage, but his hair wasn't quite as long as we liked it.
Man,
anyway,
he was sexy.
So
hey,
we were at this,
man, eh? What a
we were
man.
at this little, I forget the name of it now, it was 60 years ago. We were at this little community college after surfing, and we were all sort of in the 60s, getting stoned and listening to the Doors, and Jim Morrison walks in. So we all go, Jim Morrison! Yeah, relax. Yeah, relax. Anyway, we got stoned with Jim Morrison, and he said, listen, I won't use the final words. He said, hey, we warned you about crude language. He said...
Don't worry about that.
Okay.
Kids are in bed.
He said, words have got me in trouble all my life, Words get me in trouble. They're just sounds. They're just sounds. Next time you're in a crowd of people, just say, fuck, shit, piss. And we all looked at him and thought, geez, that's radical even for you, Jim. Anyway, and he left.
Was that the words of wisdom from Jim Morrison?
That was his
fucking
word.
great. I love it.
Yeah, except I don't listen to his music. He's such a chauvinist. I don't listen to his music anymore. But years later, I told Nduka the story. Anyway, years later, we were visiting my Californian friends, and I said, just wanted to check, because sometimes things that I remember didn't really happen, and sometimes...
Great.
So I said, did we meet Jim Morrison? And 6 of them at once said, back then. So anyway, that was my Jim Morrison story.
Hey, so something interesting there. You said
cool.
he was a chauvinist or whatever.
Yeah.
You know what? There's always this talk. There's always this excuse for bad behavior in the past. People would say, "Oh, but the times were different.
Yeah.
Rock and roll was different."
I say that,
and now
yeah.
you just say it like, "Oh man, the guy was a chauvinist." Was when things were happening at the time.
Yes,
were
yes.
there a group of people who were actually saying it's not very nice the way that you're writing your lyrics? Because nowadays people read classic rock, songs, and they were saying, these guys were actually not that nice, there was a bit of sexism.
Yeah.
Was there a group who were actually very aware of that? and saying,
No. Back then it was like the man and the squaw, like the man and the woman. And it was like, no one even thought about that. And I still don't think, someone that talked like that now, the whole thing has changed.
Yeah.
Should go to jail for it, fuck it,
Canceling
but
people.
I can't listen to the words anymore because I think they suck. But, he didn't know that. No one knew that. I know I was, you had these sort of like orgies when you were hippies and everybody stuff, Did you say yes or did you say no? Or is there any difference,
Did you say anything?
Yeah. So, times change, but if you still like that, then you've lost it,
And there was no HIV, right? So it was more likely to have those kind of parties, right?
There was weird diseases coming back in Vietnam, like the black clap,
Black clap.
Yeah.
Sorry, what's the black?
What is the black clap?
It was like some sort of STD, you know, I think it turned your dick black or something. You know, I never
shit.
got it, so I don't know. But it was.
Don't Google it, Taylor. It's all good. We'll skip that one. We'll leave it for later.
Yeah.
Thanks, though.
But you know, but there was fears like that, you know, like, but not nothing like HIV or anything.
Did you have any religious or like actually because of being from your family is Jewish, right? Like,
Yeah.
did you actually?
I know, but we
did
were
you guys
sort of
engage in the no
we were sort of Jewish.
Jewish,
Yeah.
right?
You know,
Okay,
like,
okay.
yeah. Yeah, you know, like the rabbi and the priest are sitting there and they're having lunch, and the priest says, "So, Rabbi, you know, I understand you can't enjoy bacon. Like, this is beautiful." And he goes, "Oy vey, you know, we're not allowed to have bacon. Come on, Rabbi, have you ever cheated?" "Between you and me, yes, once. Once I had a bacon, lettuce, and tomato sandwich." And the priest says, "I gotcha." So the rabbi says, "Oh, so have you never cheated? I understand you have to be celibate. Have you ever had any sex with a woman?" And the priest says, "Oh, you got me there, you know. One night, just to see what I wasn't getting, I went to a brothel and I had a lovely night with a beautiful woman." And the rabbi says, "Oh, I got you. We're evens then, hey?" And the priest says, "No, it was a lot nicer than a bacon sandwich."
Yes. Thank you. So if the mining or the coffee doesn't go well, the anti-mining or the coffee doesn't go well, we can go for the comedy shows, man. Have you considered that? That would be great. We can talk to the people from the Monkey Theater and maybe try like an open mic.
I have a problem with that.
I think you would kill it, man.
During the anti-mining, I had to speak to a lot of people. Like, once I went to the Auckland Trade Union annual meeting to tell them to blacklist all the mining industries that are coming in. So I get up there and there's like 400 truck drivers and machine workers. You know, it's like Bill Anderson was the head of the labor movement. He says, "Oh, this is Mark Tugendhaft. He wants to tell us about why we should ban mining in the country." So I say, "Oh, good evening." And someone yells out from the back, "Why should we sit here and listen to a Yank tell us how to run our country, you know?" So I said, "Bloody right, mate. You should be up here doing it. Don't leave it to a stinking Yank to do it." And then got a big applause. But, you know, basically, what are we talking about?
Yanks?
Oh, yeah.
The comedy show. You
Oh, yeah.
should-
So that's right. Thank you. Shit, I
Yeah.
knew you were here for a purpose. So
Can barely concentrate, but
you should keep him. So basically, I'm pretty good, like, talking like this, you know, because I don't have to. But
Yes.
I talk to all those things. I see, when I was fighting the mining, it wasn't like an environmental thing to me. It was like a social revolution thing. There's no way you assholes are coming in and doing that. You know, environmental is a good reason why not to do it. Economics is a good reason. But basically, you're just not going to do that to us. It was like Robin Hood, and, you know, we were out in the...
getting taken advantage of, eh?
Yeah, I
Just
didn't.
getting taken
Yeah,
advantage of.
just ripped off. I didn't have bow and arrow, but I had these Z nails, so just as effective. But so I can talk to thousands of people. Yeah, it doesn't worry me if I sort of just doing it like this. But you go to a wedding and someone says, "Hey, Mark, can you make a speech and then it's like formal. And so if you said, "Oh, stand-up comedy," and I had to actually perform, it wouldn't happen.
Wouldn't work.
Yeah. So, damn, hey.
Okay, no, it's all good. We like the podcast format. What about Jacinda? Is she cool?
I love Jacinda. I
Oh,
told
look
you.
at that smirk.
I know, I
You
got a
love
picture.
her, right, don't you?
I'm sorry, Nadoka, but I have a picture of her in my wallet. No, but no, but she's good. She's just surrounded by the old guard and the international bankers, and I know she
What was
said
the- what was
said
the-
no mining on the Coromandel.
What was the closest you've been to her? So there's something to do with the no mining, right?
Oh yeah, she was at this big 40,000 march in about 2017 up through Auckland. There were so many people there that from the ferry building to Myers Park, from one side of the road to the other side of the road, was solid people. It looked like the Exodus, you know. It was unbelievable.
The Exodus.
I like that.
I like it.
Yeah, we get to the end, and Woollen Myers Park, and I got to speak first, right? Which was a bummer because the cat.
Before Jacinda.
No, she was in the audience. Yeah, I got some pictures of her holding a no mining, you know,
Nice.
with Phil Goff, the mayor. Anyway, and she said we won't mine the Coromandel, but she don't have the say, you know. She doesn't control the World Bank, all the engineers and all the mining company. But anyway, so I get up to speak first. I wish it was second because there was no recordings, you know. And I was supposed to get up and summarize how happy Watchdog was that 20 years later there's this feeling against the mining, because John Key had just issued licenses back over the whole Coromandel again. So we had this march. Greenpeace organized it, 40,000 people. That's a lot of people. So get to Myers Park. There's still about 30,000 left. I get up there, the microphone like this. I didn't know what to say. So I said, stuff John Key, shove the gold up his ass, right? Everybody cheers. I said, stuff John Key, shove the gold up his ass. You know, next time you see a mining company rig, turn it over and burn it. And everybody trying to take the mic from me, but I lost it, you know. But so that was informal. I like it that way. Yeah.
You said that like maybe because Justine, there might be someone who's got good intentions, but she still have to deal with a team and people around her that probably don't have those intentions. That's a big thing with politicians nowadays. Like they might have good ideas and be keen for something, but you still have to please. Yeah,
there's this. Once now that we're on this ring of economy and we're hooked into the World Bank and credit rating and how much we can borrow to fight COVID and how much we can do. And once you're in that, your freedoms are gone, right? So I think that she could never stop it. As long as we consider GDP is important, like the Minister of Finance will say, hey, like we got $2 billion worth of GDP from the mining industry, right? But that $2 billion doesn't accrue here. It doesn't do any wellness here. So as long as it's just a numbers game. For example, under John Key, how many thousand homes did they sell to overseas people? I was in Hong Kong. The driver there, Chinese guy, said, oh, ni hao ma. He said, please don't speak mainland Chinese to me. They've ruined this place when they took over. We can't even afford an apartment. He said, where are you from? I said, New Zealand. He said, oh, I should apologize to you. I said, what for? He said, oh, I hear we're buying all your houses. This is in Hong Kong. There was like pamphlets of New Zealand houses for sale. So, and all of that added to our GDP, even though it was a foreigner buying our house, it was our GDP. And all the gold that goes out, even though we make nothing on it, when it gets to Bank of America, say $1,800 an ounce, oh, we've got $1 trillion worth of gold out of New Zealand. So it's this weird credibility. And I'm not an accountant, and I'm probably wrong on all of this stuff, but I don't think so. So
isn't it upsetting when people generalize, or they find like stereotypes and stuff? Like I heard so many times in New Zealand people saying, oh, Chinese, bloody Chinese, and like you forget that it's a huge country with a lot of amazing people who actually are very aware of what's going on, and they're awesome. They're smart because they invested in education. So there's a lot of people out there, artists, amazing, people into it, and then we just like to generalize and make fun. I noticed these things because I'm a foreigner. So like it's something common for me to see, like people stereotyping cultures, and it's upsetting, isn't it?
It's the same as here. The government's blowing it, They're letting the gold go out. They're letting these people rip us off. It's not the people same thing. I got lots of Chinese friends. No, there's nothing wrong with them. They're smart. They invented just about everything, but they got a corrupt, horrible dictatorship of a government. So that's where it is. That's why we're sort of on this Titanic with this inevitable crash, Just hope it doesn't kill everybody when it crashes. But we're all complaining, but not stopping the boat, Yes.
Brett's a bit quiet for now, but he's definitely still on the conversation. Look at him.
Absolutely amazing. I don't even know what you guys are talking about.
Feeling good?
Yeah.
You did remember where he was with the topic, though, so that's good. Your subconscious is still on it.
Taylor's waving. Whatever, Taylor.
Time for Leo.
Thank you, Hanako. That was
I'm not
really
taking my clothes off. It's just my jacket.
Yeah. What's that, Hannah Balinese massage? Very good.
How do we find you, Hanako? Like social media or number if we want to contact you to take you to our beautiful offices and workplaces around the Coromandel?
So you can find me at... You can find me at Hannah Balinese Massage on Facebook. And also my business name, Hannah Balinese Massage, is also on Google as well. That's where a lot of people find me. And also Facebook. as well. And yeah, some people do word of mouth as well.
Which works
so
well, right?
It does, yeah. It works really
Will,
well.
feeling
thank
great.
you. Oh, thank you so much.
And just a reminder that like if you want to be a sponsor or a supporter of this show, you get in touch with ALTBAYS.nz and look how cool we are. We'll bring you here. We'll put your products here and we'll say beautiful things.
Yeah, with
about
more
your product.
masseuses should be coming in, I think. To,
Yes, there you go.
To share their wares.
Take the lead, man. My turn.
Next time, bring a
I'm going to
dentist.
say the lead.
A dentist would be good.
Yeah, I could do with the dentist too, to be completely
Hey,
honest.
you told us a story about smashing your teeth and actually getting it covered by ACC. That's fantastic. How many years ago was that? Can we still do that?
Yeah, you can.
Yeah.
Good.
ACC covers heaps.
How was
Are you
that?
worried?
You
I
never
was
know. I
surfing-
love my teeth.
I
man.
was
It would be
actually
a shame to
surfing
break
with
them.
Haneko's father. I'd finished surfing. I paddled in. I was buggered. And Ross just came from work and he said, "Oh, paddle out with me. I don't want to surf alone out there." I said, "Oh, I'm buggered." He said, "Just sit there and keep me company." So I paddled out with him. And then I thought, "Oh, I'm going in." So I paddled in. And blackjack isn't a gentle wave. And it was about 2 meters, bit more. Anyway, I saw the set coming, so I paddled in ahead of it, and I figured I'd catch the white water, push me to the beach, stay for a long paddle. It just picked me up, smashed me down into the rocks. The board broke my teeth. I had to go to the public toilet and fill my mouth with toilet paper and drive home. I got there, and the Duker almost fainted. There's blood all over. And it's all because I was so nice to Ross, you know.
Hey, Ross, shout out.
So what's the moral of that story?
I don't know. What
Don't be so nice.
did Bob Marley say? He said, "Don't try to please everyone, just please yourself."
There you go. That's a good way.
So I should have just pleased myself and stayed in. No, I don't
you
think he
would-
applied it to that.
Did you see Bob Marley live?
No.
No. Some good gigs, some good bands.
Yeah,
They
in the
used to-
'60s I saw.
Here we go. Give us some gems.
You wouldn't even know the names of them, but there was like Crosby, Stills, Nash and Young, and and Chicago, and and Canned Heat, and you know who Canned Heat is?
No.
Yeah, you see,
They sound
and
good though.
Bob Dylan, and
Hey.
I've heard of him.
oh yeah, and
Good show. Bob Dylan.
Yeah.
What stage of? I'm not a big Bob Dylan. I
love
don't know.
Bob
I don't
Dylan.
know. I don't have a lot of knowledge
love
on
Bob
it.
Dylan.
He went through his different phases, right?
Yeah.
Where he was like, "I'm not playing electric guitar anymore because electric guitar is popular," kind of thing, right? I watched his.
He was he's a great philosopher, but if he has this one song that sort of rings really true, it's called "God on Our Side." With God on our side, he goes through the American history. The Indians fell, the cavalry charged, but it was okay because God's on our side. He goes right through it, right through all the wars. It's great. I just read this neat quote. It was a Comanche Indian. See, when you drive through the States, you don't realize like 200 years ago, that was all Native American land. It just got stolen that quickly. Anyway, so this Comanche said this thing. I just saw it on Facebook. He said, when the white man wins, it's a battle. When the native win, it's a massacre. And so history. That's what I never was a great history student because they didn't know how to teach it. It was like 1983. You had to memorize it, and you never got the truth. And then I didn't know all about the Indians. I didn't know the first British colonialists were killing Indians even before So anyway.
And we get the versions of the winners, right? So we usually get the side of
There's
the
people
winners.
now call themselves
the
environmentalists.
losers don't exactly have people to write the
say-
story, do they?
That's right.
Oh no.
True.
They're all dead. It's funny though, like you were saying about that, because I think that quite often about when you hear about the like shootings on the radio or the news or whatever, and of how that's one thing that in New Zealand was good when we had the shootings in Christchurch, was that he was labelled as a terrorist, and usually overseas it's like, well, if they're black, brown, or Muslim or something, they're terrorists, and if they're white, it's he was unwell, he's sick, he's got a bad ideology or something. Like they don't label them as terrorists usually,
Yeah.
But I was really proud of that. It was just like, no, he's a terrorist. Like the one in New Zealand, I don't know his name. I refused to learn it. But that guy that shot the 50 people, whatever, 52, 50 something.
But
It was just
I know I totally agree with you. But not to change the subject completely, but I know some
Please change it. Go for it.
conspiracy theorists that said that shooting was set up by Jacinda so she could take our guns.
Oh, my
You know,
God.
that kind of thought? That's another thing that pisses me off. Not only is history poorly written, but the present is really being distorted, you know? So that's why I think the ship's crashing, you know? Did you see that movie, Don't Look Up? You know, it's a simple
Yeah.
movie with a great message. You know?
Yeah, it is.
True. How many people work with you guys at Coffe LaLa? Mass production.
Yeah, I know. That's a Jewish question. Eh? So how many people you got working for you?
Yeah. I'm checking the business, man. Bringing some Brazilian coffee to New Zealand.
There's the Dilker and me and my friend Martin Smith and Shirley. Ian. You know Ian and Shirley.
Yep.
Yeah, Ian Priest and Shirley.
Yep.
Wally and Sam and Yose. Yeah. And they're not all the time, but like 2 or 3 days a week, and otherwise I couldn't keep it up. I mean, I couldn't keep roasting pottery.
What's the story about the
Roasting pottery.
This is really bad. I'm telling you.
Can you roast pottery?
If you roast coffee, it's good. If you roast pottery, probably not.
It won't taste great, eh? What's the story about the roaster that I know that a lot of people know around here, the Coromandel, but we are international, my friend, so some people don't actually know.
Oh, no, it's an interesting story, the roasters, because basically I don't like reading, and I don't really, I like to find out my own information. So I didn't want to buy a coffee roast, I wanted to make one. And I had a friend, Alan, who's dead now, but he was a metal genius. He could do anything in metal, right? One time I ran over Naduka's wheelbarrow, and she said, "Oh, you asshole!" Anyway, I took it to Alan, and he looked at it and he kicked it in one spot and went boing back into shape. I said, "Yes, you're the man." But anyway, and so I drew up these roasters, which are basically big drums out of pipes from the Taranaki oil fields, and they roll just like a tumbler for rock polishing. And I put some blades in it, and I drew it up for Al, and he was a tool maker, so he could do anything with metal, right? From jewelry to injection molds. And we just built them out of scraps in our workshop. And they're great. They sort of roast about 8 kilos at a time. I got 2 of them going.
That's what you use now?
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
awesome.
And they're so simple, and they just run off a barbecue burner gas. And the motors come off of old coffee machines and things like that. So I enjoy them. And they've been going for like 20 years, you know.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
That's right.
Do you always
Exactly. Why did I say that?
Yeah.
do you always drink black coffee? How do you drink your coffee?
I used to drink flat whites, right? Until I was drinking like 2 liters of milk a day. And then now it's just straight long black.
Nice.
Because you can taste it.
Yes.
Yeah. I'm not selling milk.
So how do you make a long black? Is that just that's?
Not
Sorry,
selling
you're not
milk.
joking.
No, but it was good. I'm not selling milk.
I thought you were laughing at the long black part.
No, I love long blacks. I drink long blacks.
So is that just coffee and water?
Yeah, you just put in
And
like
you add water to it?
I put the water in first, and I like.
That's the
Oh,
trick.
is that a Americano?
That's the secret.
No.
No.
It was the long black the other way around.
Oh, you talk about Americanos. And Duke and I were on one of our trips over in San Francisco,
the
and
difference.
we go in there, and Duke says, "So can we have 2 long
The
blacks,
water
right?"
first is long black.
So we asked for 2 long blacks in San Francisco, and we got milkshake containers of coffee. You know, you said long, buddy. You know, but anyway, no, you just put in 1/3 of a cup of water, hot water, and then shoot the coffee on top. Americano, you sort of have almost a whole cup of water, and then when we were one time in Italy, I said, "Can I have a regular coffee? You know, a big coffee." And so I said, "How do I say that?" He said, "Oh, tasse grande." So I said, "Tasse grande." So anyway, he comes out with this big cup, you know, like John Wayne size, with an espresso in the bottom. He says, that was his way of saying, just drink it like that, gringo.
Do you think? There's a funny story about it. You said, the milk and everything, because everybody talks about the Brazilian coffee, but not many people know that when you go to Brazil, I won't say that it's 100%, but like most of people, they drink it with sugar.
Yeah.
It always goes with sugar, and people usually use the thermal bottles, you know, like you just leave it there all day and you can always drink it throughout the day.
Yeah.
It's a very common thing in Brazil, but like people add sugar to it.
I know, but once you start
Which
to
is
actually trying to
frustrating.
taste what you're roasting, like I say, I can taste the Ethiopian. Oh, Sam, you roasted the Kenyan a little bit dark this time. You can actually tell drinking it. As soon as you put sugar in, it's just a sweet, nice drink.
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
they
yeah.
do that a lot in Italy too. And like I spoke to this one old Italian. He said they tune their machines up in the morning because baristas are the whole thing. And So they end up making like at least 8 or 10 waste coffees just to get the grind. They take all that coffee and then they just dissolve sugar into it until it's like a honey.
Nice.
And then they put the bowls out on the table. So people were getting like coffee flavored sugar, which was a nice compromise, you know. Yeah.
Yeah, nice. Now I see the value in it. But when I went back to Brazil, it was a bit frustrating because I never drank coffee in Brazil.
Yeah.
And then I came to New Zealand and started to work with coffee. So I learned how much you can get out of a nice cup of coffee. And people were saying, ooh, Brazilian coffee, you're going back to Brazil, you're going to enjoy the Brazilian coffee. And then first thing that I get is this sugary, horrible coffee from my mom. Sorry, Mom. Everybody was loving it, but I was like, did you really put sugar in it?
Yeah.
And then I told her about that. I was like, you know that you can actually taste the coffee without sugar, right? And for her, it was just like so alien, the idea of not drinking with sugar. And now she's enjoying it, you know, like she dropped the regular milk. Sometimes she has it with, I think, soy milk, but like she likes coffee, just the coffee. And there's an art to it.
Yeah.
That when I try not to drink it every day. I go through moments in life where I drink more, sometimes I drink less, but I really like the ritual of sitting, getting a nice long black, getting the aroma first, making sure that the crema, that oils are nice at the top, and it's an art, isn't it?
Yeah, I'll sell some to you if you like it that much.
I do.
Just sign up here.
Come on, I thought you would give me a bag.
You get it. I'll give you anything.
Thank you.
Just keep mentioning it. Can you?
Coffee LaLa, and I worked with Coffee LaLa for a long time. Yeah, for maybe like 2 years and a half. It was always very enjoyable and nice. Yeah.
But you know, when I was earlier, I was saying how every time we roast, we try to make it better. That's really true. Like you taste it and go, maybe, you can just tweak it. It's, you know, when you're roasting coffee, it's like the critical parts are the very last 5 minutes. You know, it can roast for 15 minutes and it starts to color and there's a development time. And right there, you know, depending on your origin.
The first crack, is that what you call it?
After the first crack.
Yeah. It's the only thing I know about roasting.
I can't remember my. Oh no, sorry. Did I say that? So so that development time is really important. Yeah.
Right.
So and that's what you have to call it. And it's, I mean, when you're computerized, you know, like we know the guys at Aotearoa Coffee, they have a $500,000 roaster.
Yep.
And they just drop a whole sack in and they type in Colombian AB. And it's got the firing profile all in the computer, and they just walk away, and then, bing, it's done, and it's it. But I don't have that. We have to actually count the tenths of a second, sample, 10 more seconds, sample, until it's just perfect. Yeah, and like even in the time for tipping the coffee out, you know it's going to take you about 3 seconds to tip it out, so you don't want to be late. You know, like because it'll keep cooking until it hits the cooler. You know, so it's quite good. Yeah.
Have you had it without roasting? Just like is it cold press or something?
Oh no.
How do you call it? No, not cold press. Like without
cold
roasting.
drip, yeah.
Cold drip.
Yeah.
Because I remember I watched, I think it was a TED Talk or something, because coffee is acidic, right? So a lot of people, they struggle because they drink too much coffee and it's quite an acidic drink. And then this guy was saying that actually, if you don't roast it, there's a way that obviously changes the flavor, but it can be a quite enjoyable drink without roasting it. Have you had that experience?
Yeah, but I whoever that was might have had it backwards or else I'm wrong. But basically, as you roast, you lose the acidity, and you could cook it out of it. So
right. Oh, but I mean, when you react to your body,
I think cold drip is more acidic.
No, what I meant was like it's not alkaline to your body; it's acidic. You know what I mean?
Yeah, there's a weird thing about alkaline and acidity. Like,
oh, please teach me.
I don't know it, but you know, like they sort of.
So is
like,
it the blind leading the blind at the moment?
I mean, how acidic is like apple cider vinegar, but it's supposed to be good for your stomach.
Yeah.
So maybe your body compensates by neutralizing it, and then it's finding its nice balance rather than.
Because I think some things the body does change, eh? I think like lemon juice is one of those sorts of things.
Yes.
Where you drink it and it changes it from an acid to an alkaline.
I don't know any of that.
I'm just saying, going with something I overheard on the internet.
How much coffee do you drink, Brett?
Usually, I try and only have one, but I quite often will have one at Smoko as well. And today I've had 3.
Good on you.
Today I had 3.
It's supposed to be good for you. You know, you read some articles, 5 coffees a day, and you know you'll live 10 years longer. You know. 2 coffees a day, you'll live like 4 years longer. No, I don't know. And if it's coffee LaLa, like you'd never die.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, it's like,
That's the best marketing campaign I ever heard.
yeah.
That's fantastic.
So do you guys fix machines and stuff like that as well?
Yeah,
Just
yeah.
you do?
Yeah, I do. I like fixing things. I do. I got like 10 machines in there now.
So when my machine breaks, you'll come
Depends
over
on how
and
good it is.
service
If it's like one of those that you buy in an electric shop, like a Breville, this and that, they click them together and it's impossible to fix them without breaking them apart. I don't bother looking at them.
I've fixed the Breville machine before, and then it lasted about 2 days, and then it stopped.
But if it's an Italian machine, then they can all come. They all have standard parts.
I've got a little Italian machine, but it's pretty little and cheap. It's probably the bottom of the line, like La Pavoni or whatever
Yeah,
it's
that's
called.
all right. That's a good company, La Pavoni.
Yeah, and it's a little one. It's only like this big. You're like, you know.
I'll fix it for you. $50 an hour. Come on.
There you
Oh, it's
go.
not broken.
It's not broken.
But Hector this morning was like, man, that coffee machine's noisy. It was making a lot of noise. And I was just, I don't know, man.
What kind of noise? There's a different.
Like that.
Oh, right. Yeah. Okay.
So I
That's your
turned the
pump.
little knob on the side, the steamer a few times, and it sort of like started coming through. It wasn't coming through. The water
Oh,
wasn't
right.
coming through.
And the
water-
pump was running dry and making a lot of noise. Yeah.
Are we?
You like that? It's
Yes.
good for business, eh?
Let me look at your pump.
Do you think we have
Sounds close to me.
good politicians in our area here in the Coromandel? Are we well served with the people in charge of what's happening in our area?
I like Dennis Tegg. I like Len Salt.
He's running, eh?
Yeah, I'm gonna vote for him. Not to plug him, but yeah, he's a good guy. He's a normal guy. I don't want someone that's like.
You just have to be honest here, man. You're not.
You
selling
don't want the
anyone's
old boys,
idea.
you know, the
Yes.
old boys, the old girls, you know. Oh, I've got a farm family. Yeah, great. So you're a farm family, but how do you relate? You know, this guy's a musician and this and that. I relate to him. Anyway,
Do you think he'll do all right over in Thames and stuff like that?
I don't know.
No? Oh, you know.
I don't know.
Do you think he'll do all right over in Thames?
There are no. How many options? How many people are actually? We're gonna bring them. That's
Yeah.
for sure. So if you're watching this show and you're interested in knowing the candidates and people who will be running for your local body elections, stay tuned to ALTBAYS. I'm just loving this massage, but I'm in tune. I know what's going on. But apparently there's what, 1 or 2 other ones running? John
Yeah, I'm
Freer
not
is
sure.
one, right?
Well,
Let me Google it real quick.
I'm just focusing on
John
the one
Freer
I
is
want.
one.
You know?
I know about John Freer. Yeah. And,
Never mention the opposition. You're just giving them time. You know, I just sorry.
Right. No, fair enough. Fair enough. I don't know, Brett. I don't think I can answer your question about Len doing good in Thames. Are you a Thames fan? Do you like Thames?
I'm getting more and more
Thames.
in tune with Thames because they have a KFC.
Wow.
They've got an
that's
eco store
sad.
that's great. You know that eco shop there on the corner, all glass.
Which one's that one?
And the bins.
Yeah. There's some women on it there. Super cool people.
Oh yeah,
You should get them in here.
I've never
Which
been
one
there.
are
I've
you
been to
talking
that.
about, sorry?
I've been to that place that does the music, and they've got all the like Buddhist quite stuff in there and crystals
Oh,
and things.
Is it called
Earth
Restore?
Store?
Or? Yeah, Restore.
Restore? Oh yeah.
I'm not just saying that because they got a coffee in there. There
Yeah.
is a great shop, you know.
Oh yeah.
You get all sorts of great stuff like figs and dates and puff melon and, you know.
I'm a big fan of the Seagulls
Yummy.
dump store as well myself. I like that. I go there every time I go to Thames. Thames.
That would be something to have here, you reckon?
Oh, absolutely. It needs to be done. See, like, I'm from Raglan, as I keep saying, and, like, they've got a good dump store there, Kahu's Nest, and although it's a little overpriced lately, but, like, they do really well. So, like, people will just be like, okay, I've got all these clothes or I've got all this stuff, and they'll just go, instead of taking it to the dump and paying for it or whatever, or even selling it, like, you know, they could just go on Facebook Marketplace and sell their stuff or whatever. They'll just go, oh no, we'll take it up to Kahu's Nest and give it to them, and they'll take it, and then because they're a non-profit as well, and like they just sell it, and it's great. You go up there and you get some good stuff for a good price, you know, and they seem to do all right. Sometimes they get a little bit, not them, but in general, it depends who sort of like ends up pricing stuff. But like sometimes these places, they do get, their things are doing really well and everyone's buying all the stuff and the prices sort of go up a little bit. and then it's like, oh, don't buy it anymore, because I want to buy the thing for $2, not for $7, you know, because I've only gone there with $30.
It is a socialist idea and taken over by capitalist philosophy.
But that finds its way out all right, because in 3 weeks the stuff is still sitting there, right? And then it's like, oh, maybe we need to drop the prices, and then so they need to make money off turnover, right? instead of you know, putting a higher price. But I think it'll do absolutely great here.
Yeah, Naduka was saying that on the way in.
Sorry?
Naduka was saying that on the way in. We need one of those here.
Oh, yeah, well, start it. No, I think they're moving towards that, aren't they? From what I've heard. Yep.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yep. We're also going to have someone from the new project for the rubbish. Is that close to the bike park? Is that what it is? There's some changes on the. Yep.
Oh, yeah.
I can't say because I don't know, but I know that we're having someone to talk about that. So we're going to get educated soon.
Yeah. So we use this oat milk, you know, and you can recycle that type of Tetra Pak. There's some people making like countertops out of it, chairs. So we're starting to save it, and then they're going to take it to a place. I think it's in Thames, and then it goes to this place, and then they reuse it. You know, see, we could do that with almost anything.
We can do it. Yeah.
This is latest technology I saw where they're collecting solar-powered carbon dioxide collectors. So you're pulling it out of the atmosphere. Then this solar-powered compressor compresses this carbon dioxide down. And then as they release it, it expands 1,000 times. They're using that to turn generators. And it's acting like a giant carbon dioxide battery superpower, you know. And all of that's like completely not mined, you know. There's things like that.
Do you use your phone quite a lot?
Yeah, it's terrible. You know, our grandkid's always on it like, I think, what's he looking at? Then you realize he's looking at what I do, the same thing. You go on Facebook and there's all these great films, martial arts stuff. There's this one guy doing Wing Chun that blows my mind, you know. I'm actually following him because he's so tough, you know. And then you keep going. You see one like this little cat sitting on the table and he knocks something off. And so this next time they put the thing on.
Oh, they glue it on?
No. He starts to knock it off, and the owner has another stuffed cat and smashes it. And then the cat takes the thing and pushes it back away, back onto the table. You know, I love things like that. There's all sorts of good stuff.
Are you on TikTok?
No, I'm just watching off on Facebook. I don't watch TikTok. It's a little bit too sort of hyper, you know.
Yes. It's quite fast.
Yeah.
There's a lot of information in a very short amount of time.
Yeah, that's what I like. This Facebook ones are quite good, you know.
Do you follow some pages as well, Brett, on Facebook that you just...
Oh, no, I don't follow them. I just sometimes just...
It's catchy.
We'll just get on it and then just scroll. I was actually looking at this morning how long I spend a day on Facebook.
Oh, you can do that.
I'm afraid to do that. It's terrible to do because you're on the phone
Unlock
again.
your phone. I want to have a look.
Oh, yeah?
Oh
shit, I hope none of the
What sort of phone have you got?
A Samsung.
Oh, yeah, I know where to find it then.
What do you want to see? Oh,
Delete delete your history first.
it's nothing like that. I'm not like that.
So swipe up from the bottom and you'll get to your apps probably.
Yeah.
And then there'll be a search.
This is a picture of the roastery last night in the dark. Sam was roasting. Isn't that beautiful?
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah.
So I'll show you. You go like
let's
this.
Just say thank you to Hannah Kue. Fantastic.
And you go up here.
What a
and you
fantastic
write,
night.
Well.
Oh, thanks. I got two, eh?
Yep.
Well, I guess you do now.
Digital well-being.
Yeah.
And then you click on that.
Can you tell it to everybody how to find that, Brecht? Because you're doing it and people who are listening to the show, they don't know what you're doing. What are you doing?
So what I'm doing is, for people who are listening as well as looking, is I'm looking at, I go to my Google, I've got these are all Android phones that we're using. I don't know about what it is on an iPhone. But you swipe up from the bottom and it'll get to a search bar and you can type in digital well-being or I just wrote well and it pops up and you click on that. And then you go into there and it will have all your times that you use on different apps.
Oh, wow.
Right? So here's your ones.
Oh, shit, you're going to find... Don't say that. I'll be in trouble.
So today on Facebook, you've spent 38 minutes. That's pretty reasonable.
Holy schmoly, I have to stop picking on the grandkid. He's on like 4 hours without stopping.
So you can go to...
So how many hours did you say for Mark? Sorry.
38 minutes.
38 minutes. You're pretty good.
Yeah, so
pretty good.
He's spent in the last week...
Hey, shut up.
No, less and less. Like... You're around that 30-minute mark. You've got one around 10 minutes, one around 5 minutes for a whole day. That's pretty good.
Okay. Good.
Holy moly! The week on Sunday you spent 2 hours on Facebook. You must have been scrolling.
Oh, Facebook Sundays, eh?
Is that really 2 hours?
Yeah.
I must have just left it on and not been looking.
Oh, is that a fact?
Yeah, it's possible.
No, but I find that real interesting because you can go, it'll have all your apps on there and you can go, I spend this time on
38
Instagram
minutes is
or
pretty
whatever.
good, though. I think kids nowadays spend 38 minutes in 15. That's what they do. Like,
Yeah.
they just spend too much.
I was spending in between 30 minutes and an hour a day.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, that's not that much. And then I was like, oh, but there's only 24 hours in a day. But then I was like, oh, but then I have lunch. So like I usually sit there at lunch and I eat my lunch usually first and then I'll like scroll through on some Facebook or something and then be like,
Yeah.
no, there's nothing on here.
Hey, we're very similar.
Yeah, I need to find those what is it, Fitty Buy Sell Swap, and see if there's any goodies going on there, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Mark, here we go. Surfboards. Ask about the boards he's created and built. Mark is an amazing inventor. Thanks, Artie. Question from the audience.
Yeah. Well, in about 68, I was living in San Diego, the shortboard started being developed, and I thought I can do that. So I had this little garage, sharing a house with a bunch of hippies. And this little one-car garage, so I put light bulbs down both sides, like 60-watt light bulbs right down the sides so you can see, and just learn the shape. You could make a board then. It was so cheap. I could buy the blank, the resin, the sandpaper, the acetone, the cloth, everything for about $40. Yeah. Now you sort of spend like $200 on a blank or something. But anyway, then I started making boards, just inventing little round tails with flotation decks and just used my imagination. I made a few of them, quite a few. And then that's all. So now I hurt my back, so I'm kneeboarding instead of surfing. So I designed some kneeboards, and they're completely different. They're super flat and super full of foam, and you don't need flippers to catch a wave, and they skim across the surface like super
So you still
fast.
make
Nice.
No, I get my friend Pete Anderson in Whangamata. He makes incredible boards.
Oh, yeah,
I get him to make them.
When I went to school, they brought in the surfing academy in Raglan.
Yeah.
Second or third to last year of my school anyway, and they were for we were doing woodwork, and they had the metalwork room that no one taught metalwork, so it was just woodwork, or that was it. But the surfing academy guys, they were all making surfboards at school. That was like a part of their education, and that was pretty cool. They all had it all, the metalwork part all set up with all their like surfboards, and they'd shape them and resin them and so on and so forth. And I remember looking at that and going, oh, I wish I could do that instead of making a box, like
If you're a plasterer,
Japanese racing clogs.
you'd probably be great at it. You're good with your hands. You can make a board. You just
I don't even surf. I just wanted to be like, that would be cool to do.
I know, but you could carry it around and look cool.
Yeah,
True.
that's true. Yeah, well,
Especially
at
if you
least
made it.
At least it'd look cool for once.
So George Smith says, "Hi Mark, I heard that they made a movie about your journey of the anti-mining movement. Could I get the name? And also, how was it to have the experience of seeing someone doing you on the screen?"
Oh, yeah. That's right. That's funny. Yeah, it was called the Z Nail Gang.
Say it again.
The Z, a Z, Z Nail Gang. The Z Nail is like a builder's thing. If you want to hold a beam a rafter onto a beam, it's got one point going one way and one going the other. And I had the brilliant idea that however you threw it on the road, it would definitely flatten their tires. So we had boxes of
They
these.
always point up.
And this might not be true if you're listening and you want to arrest me, but we used to get the kids. We'd find out where the prospectors' cars were, and I'd drop the kids off on their skateboards, and they'd skateboard by and put the Z nails on and get back in the car and drop them. So they never fail. So that was called the Z Nail Gang. And I guess the woman playing Nadilka looked a little bit like Nadilka. What was his? Oh. Yeah, Errol Shand. Errol Shand, blonde hair. He used to be in. He always plays this sort of drugged out, derelict, strange guy. He's a great actor. But anyway, he played me, and I thought he had blonde hair, But they had a kiln, and they had a surfboard, and it was sort of summarized. So I was happy, But they didn't call him Mike or my.
So did the crew come to you and like listen to all your stories?
Yeah,
Or they
exactly. Our
cool.
kid Bronny's friend Anton Steele, and he's a filmmaker. And he came and Bronny used to tell him about what we used to do because it was quite radical. Like we had an A team, 3:30 in the morning, balaclavas on out there. Get the bastards. Anyway. So Anton said, I'm going to make a movie on that. So he came over and we just raved like this, right? And then he basically had a good recall and he made it. But, we were talking 15 years and he condensed it into like a 1-year thing. So I was a little bit disappointed didn't make it look as hard as it was. And it was a little bit light, like it was a comedy, serious all at once. It was an enjoyable movie. And then we went to one. It was funny. We drove down. They filmed it in the outbacks of Tauranga somewhere in the hills. The Duke and I drove down to see one of the film nights. And if you look real carefully, I'm on the bridge, the protest. But anyway, we get down there and Anton says, "Oh, these are the real people." And all the young actors said, "Were you alive back then?" Anyway, when we pulled up, a local car was coming over the bridge where the protest was going to be. And they drove past stuff, and I heard bang, and they got a flat tire. I said, "Shit, that's a familiar sound." So I went out to look, and sure enough, the other way we took the tires down, they were called nail boards. You get a 1-inch board, you put 4-inch nails through, so you got 3-inch nails. And then you put them in the wheel tracks under the water where they drive, and they just drive over them and get them. Anyway, they were using these as props, but they dropped one, and it got one of the locals' cars. Yeah. So, I was laughing, but they didn't know why. Anyway. So
I was just wondering about, because the thing is, when you write a book about someone or you write about your story, you can be as detailed as you want to, and then the movie has a different flow and it's an arty thing, so you're gonna go for like the highlights or whatever you think the crowds are gonna find it interesting. So you gave your perspective on the movie, which is pretty cool. But what about a book?
Yeah, I have a problem. It doesn't sound like it sounds like I have a big ego, but I don't, if I really told you how great I was. No. So I have a problem. Like, if I write a book, I start to write a book all the time, It's always I, me, I, me. And I figured, who wants to read that, Then I thought, oh, well, I'll put in some life philosophies, which I've got quite a few, And then I thought, who wants to hear my life philosophy? So I never get through it. But the thing about this movie was we won, and that's what happened. And it's called The Zednail Gang. You can Google it and watch it. Yeah, and we did another one before that, early, about 86. We did one called Prospects, and it was the battle against, and it was a documentary, and it got on TV, and they tried to sue us because it was so biased, but you can still look that up, Prospects, the Coromandel anti-mining video. Cool. I could get you a copy if you want to see it.
That would be fantastic.
And you can see me when I'm about 35 and the Duke is about 30,
Yeah, man, we would love that. And when you say about the philosophies, like, do you have one movement that you always felt inspired, or you are a collective of things that you lived and then you find your own philosophy?
When I used to, first of all, I think everyone who meets everyone should empower them, You should say, "Oh, you're looking good today. Nice shirt."
I do that. Compliment. That's fantastic.
Make them
honest ones, obviously.
Even when someone walks by the street and you don't know them, and you go, "Hey, good day."
Yeah.
Fuck, it makes the world better,
Give a smile. Yeah.
Of course, I got really extreme on that. If a tiny little baby praying mantis lands on the ground next to me, I think, "Oh, I'll save you." And I pick it up and put it outside because, the smallest thing is so defenseless. You save it. It's a good move. So anyway.
You're going to put it outside for the birds, eh?
No, I saw a movie like that, The guy trying to look good in front of the chicken. He picks up this little dove and saves it from being run over and puts it on this thing. And then a hawk comes down and eats it. It was funny, but not like that. When I used to teach at the language school here a few days a week, I remember telling a lot of the students, "Oh, what do I do with my life? I'm not happy." So my philosophy was, what makes you happy? Like, I like surfing. I don't know, would you like skiing or movies? Move where you can do that as often as possible, and then find a way to stay there. So that was it. That's it. Also, there's other philosophies, I guess, like be free, like this. To be free, Yeah, you really... I don't accept any authority. I accept wisdom. I accept information, knowledge, but not the concept of authority. No one has authority over anyone. It's just, you should or you shouldn't do something. I know that. I won't tell you what to do, but I'll tell you what not to do to me, So reject authority, And then the other thing is, when you learn you're wrong, it's a good moment, Because the dumb don't know they're dumb. Like, if I find... I didn't know I was privileged, When I first got here, I remember I met with, a really famous New Zealander, Tamaiti. Yeah, he's like a hero. I went to the Kiwi pub, which doesn't exist anymore. He was there the first night I came to New Zealand. He's a really radical Maori guy. And I'm talking, oh yeah, anti-war. Yeah, and he said to me, oh, let's go to Aotearoa, to one of my pubs. And I said, no, that's all right. He said, I knew you were a chicken, And so I learned something there. And then I remember saying, I'm a Yank. I didn't do anything to your people, And then it wasn't until years later we were at the Aotearoa Marae in Taranaki, and we were talking about mining because they were going to do seabed mining there. We were going to try to help them, Aotearoa. And we went out for fish and chips afterwards because we were there for 3 days, And I realized I still couldn't sing, I had to sing a waiata. I couldn't do it. Everyone had to do it for me, There's no warrior there. But anyway, we go to the fish and chip shop. I ordered, a fish burger and some chips and a Coke, And they said, okay, we'll call your name. We sat down. And then my friend Neville went and they said he ordered a fish burger chips and they made him pay straight up. And I said, how come you had to pay straight up? Yeah, you're white. And then I thought, fuck, that was those little moments you realize where your privilege is. You don't know who you're standing on and how easy it is for you. I always love those revelation moments, So that's my philosophy. It's just be open to what you're doing wrong,
Yes.
Yeah.
Being aware of those moments is so important. Owning up, I always talk about owning up to your ignorance,
Totally.
enjoying
I
the
knew I
fact
liked
that
you.
There you go. Yeah, of course. But it's hard. It's a process. You got to practice, because a lot of the times we don't want to try something new because we are scared of failing or looking silly. But that's where the goal is, right? That you just said, is that's where you grow. That's where you evolve.
Yeah, I know. When we first started Watchdog, and we went to Manaya, it was this incredible woman, Betty Williams. Anyway, she said, what's your philosophy, What's your co-pop? I said, oh, fuck a co-pop. I don't know. We just want to stop the bastards. She said, you don't have a philosophy, you don't have anything, right? So it's just moments like that, you think, I love that,
What is your philosophy, Brett?
Mine?
Yeah.
Oof, I think I might need a bit more time to think about that than you've got yours all lined up.
Mark came prepared,
No,
man. Where were you? What were you doing in the afternoon?
You've written yours down at least. Shit, man, I don't know. My thing I try to do, and I fail miserably at
Trying is great.
is I try to be humble, and I come across as probably so not humble.
I think you're
And
super humble,
and
bro,
I
to be honest.
persecute myself.
Oh,
over
yeah, I
it.
do too. Yeah. I think someone as ugly and as mean as you could be really nasty, but you're nice.
I can be really mean. You're right. Yeah.
Such a sweetheart, such a good man. Yeah.
But I don't really have a personal philosophy. That's just something I try to do, I suppose.
Well, but you're living by that truth of doing your thing and being nice, even if you're not sure if it is the thing. You're still doing it.
I'm not sure if I'm doing it is the thing. That's the hardest part,
Well, when someone asks you if you got one, then you got to think about it. Otherwise, you just...
Next
Just
time
be
I come
nice.
in, I'll have one ready. I'll be like, this is a mixture of, Alan Watts, Gandhi, and...
Well, but we are a collective
God.
of things that we listen to and learn from, right?
Oh,
it's
yeah.
fine.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Two sides then.
Yeah. I try to listen to other people's... My thing, I try to listen to stuff that I don't agree with.
Mm-hmm.
I listen to lots of podcasts, and I'll listen to I was raised a Jehovah's Witness, and I'll listen to Mormon podcasts and Catholic ones, and then I'll listen to some extreme, well, not extreme. I won't go full hardcore racist Nazi right wing, but I'll listen to some sort of more far right on the spectrum, just to see what they're about, and then I'll look at the left, because I consider myself to be left of centre, or to be fair on some things right of centre, but mostly left of centre, and it's I'm looking at the left as well, and I'm like, oh, what do they got, and sometimes you just go, I'll grab that and I'll grab that, because that makes sense, even on a podcast about Catholics. No. But
Great.
you'll go, you'll be like, oh shit, there's something there that's actually pretty helpful, to a life view or whatever. So
I just want to read a comment that really connect with what we're saying. So Danny says, after seeing so many people in favor of mining in this show, it's nice to see you guys bringing the other side of the coin. Thanks for bringing different views. That's what we're all about, right?
I haven't talked about how pro-mining I am yet. We're just letting you go for it.
There is no other view. I mean, when it comes to mining, there's no other view. I heard this woman interviewing Bono from YouTube. And at the end of the interview, she said to him, what have you learned? You know, he said, well, the wealthier you get, the more I feel I have to give back, right? So they have these sort of things. And he said to her, what have you learned? She said, well, when I started reporting, if I didn't agree with someone, I dehumanized them. I thought they were assholes, and I didn't want to know. They weren't human. Now I've realized that we probably get along on most things except those things. Yeah?
Sure.
I haven't got to that stage yet. If they like mining, get fucked, you know?
So we got one more last question from the audience, and Robo4 says, Mark, any idea of how to change the minds of people who don't believe that humans are screwing up the world, specifically global warming?
It's a bit rough on humans, I feel, but carry on. Certain humans, maybe. That's like saying China's wrecking shit. It's not China.
Oh, but
it's certain people.
some, that's what he's saying.
I feel that's a bit humanist.
That's what he's saying.
Speciesist.
Some people, the mind of people who don't believe, not all of them.
I got a sort of.
Do you believe that we can actually change people's minds, or you more in that like you do something and you expect that the person will follow your example, like, or you actually think that changes are important if you?
No, I don't. I think if I picked up something and it was red hot and I said, here, grab this, Leo, it's not hot, you'd look at it and go, it's hot, I'm touching that. I said, no, there's no way I can change your beliefs or my beliefs, you know. You have to change your own beliefs, so that's right. You think I'm an asshole now after tonight, you think, shit, he's a god. Yeah, I haven't made you do that, you've just noticed. No, you can never talk anyone into anything. They got to suddenly realize. And some people are just not going to learn this, you know, like if you take this is a scientific thingy that I learned. If you take anything like this bowl of peanuts, you could distribute this like, oh, this one's about.
Hey, that's my pay.
Fuck you. This one's a little bit.
It's true.
There'll be an average size, right? And you end up with like the tiniest ones here and the biggest one there, but basically you get what's called a bell curve like this, yeah, right. Now, if that happens in anything, like you could just take a handful of grass and you could arrange it. You'll get the longest ones, the next, the shortest ones, and and it gets this curve. It's just a normal curve, right? And I think humans are like that. So I figure at least half on that side of the curve, fuck, they're not going to agree with me. This half I will agree with, and at the very end, these guys I love because they totally believe in me. But and I don't think you're going to ever move them. I think at any instant, it's going to be like that, and I don't think you can change it. And even with the planet warming and there's things burning and things flooding and everything, shootings all the time, they're just going to. Half the people are going to be learners, and half of them aren't. It's just how it is. Half of them are going to just not. And I don't know if we can save the world on half, and I don't know if we will save the world because I think it'll get real bad. And you'll have to save the world because otherwise you're dead. It's kind of late, but that's how it's going to be.
I agree. That's where it's going to be because we've done it before. Like for example, when shit hits the fan in a bad way, the people who are assholes who are running the world and the big corporations, they do make the change when necessary. For example, when they had the hole in the ozone layer, it was like, holy shit, there's a hole in the ozone layer. And the scientists are like, there's a hole in the ozone layer, like we're down here in New Zealand getting sunburned and shit, and they did.
Yeah,
they did go, okay, we're going to have to change this because otherwise shit's in the fan real quick, And I feel at the moment they're sort of in that they go, okay, well we're watching this, and you're right, they are going to fuck it up until it's almost to the point where it's completely fucked up, and then they'll go, oh, okay, well we have to change something or we're going to die.
Maybe.
I hope.
Maybe.
Well, I hope they do it before that. I hope they do it before that. If National's in power, they'll wait until that point.
There are some people that say Big Pharma made that hole up so they can sell more sunblock.
Sunblock gives you cancer.
Oh yeah, that's good because then they can sell cancer cures. I don't believe any of that, what I just said.
No,
But,
no, yeah.
you know, I can imagine the conspiracy that could go around anything at all, you know. Like they tell the kids to eat their veggies. They're trying to kill them because Monsanto and Bayer are making these vegetables that are quite inorganic. So when anybody trying to give lunches to school kids is actually trying to reduce the world population, like the UN wants to do, yeah. The only good, and Jacinda was in on it. She's giving free lunches to low decile kids. Oh, she's in on killing our kids.
Wow.
The only one that wasn't was Donald Trump, because he cut all school lunches because he knew, you know. You know, that kind of shit goes
It's
around.
how you tell the story, eh? Everything is about how you tell the story.
That's why I don't think we're going to save the place, you know.
In this
Mark,
very optimistic...
Can I just make a question?
Yes, please. Of course.
Mark, you being an American, not that that's a bad thing.
No, actually, I have to
that's
stop you
a
there because I
bad
hate that. I lived in America for 21 years and I've lived here for like 53 years, you know, like, you know.
Right.
I didn't notice your accent,
What?
by the way.
Oh, good.
What is your opinion about gun policies? Like, because I see like more and more, like as you was saying about mass shooting and things like that, it's getting more often and people still believing that having more guns is the solution for that things to stop. What is your point on it?
He said, "What's your opinion on gun shootings?" And
No.
sorry, Taylor.
So basically, the fact that some people are still saying Trump could get back in, that there's still enough people that don't realize that guy was just a total loony bin. Those same people love their guns. So basically, it doesn't matter how many shootings. It's my right to kill people if I want to. That's how they think. And that's half the country. Half the country, like I said, on that normal curve, half the country just thinks that it's the right for me to kill someone if I have to. The other half says, no, we should limit it. And the country's divided right down the middle. So if the Americans, so half of them will learn and half of them won't. That's the disappointing thing. You know, the humans aren't that clever. They just lucky. We're lucky we survived. You're lucky another asteroid hasn't hit, you know. So I think Americans, I don't think they'll be able to change the gun laws. I just don't think so. I hope they do, you know.
Sam Harris has got a great podcast out. It was the second to last one on that fact of American.
What does
gun
he take on
policy.
it? Fabian is a fan.
Of Sam Harris?
Yeah.
Yeah. He just sort of gave some facts and their opinions. He had another guy on there as well, and he just sort of, he didn't really
Was he saying that it's not that bad? Because that's what he does.
Who, Sam Harris?
Yeah.
No, he didn't say it wasn't that bad. Not by a long shot,
That's his
actually.
thing with racism as well. Not bad.
By a long shot.
Yeah.
Nice pun, yeah.
Oh, no, it wasn't intentional.
I'm judging. I shouldn't.
Yeah, no, he obviously, like, he's a gun owner, but he thinks there should be... His opinion on gun violence was that, like, most gun violence in America done in mass shootings is done with pistols, and that it's the school shootings that are done with ARs. So he's sort of got a mixed opinion on how, say, licensing or restrictions should be on weapons, because pistols kill a whole lot more people than, say, AR-15s, which is the weapon of choice. But his opinion was that they're teaching children to shelter in place in the schools, so they are taught to, like, stay in the rooms and things like that. And on the one chance that they might have a school shooting, which is actually very rare considering how many schools there are and how many school shootings there are, he's like, we should be teaching people to literally just run for their lives, because it's harder to shoot a moving target, but if you come in to a classroom and the teacher and children are sheltered in place, that's obviously like shooting fish in a barrel kind of thing. So he was talking about more along the education lines, not terrifying children with all this, like, you need to hide and stuff in your classrooms, and like they're talking about trying to have like a one entrance, one exit policy in the schools, where they'll have like security guards on the entrance and exit so that they can stop people coming in. But the problem is once they get beyond that point, then everyone's trapped within the school. So he talks about having a one entrance, multiple emergency exit policies in schools.
He doesn't want to arm the kids, does he?
No, he doesn't.
I mean, if the kids had guns, they could have shot the bastard. That's what they're saying, you know.
Yeah, but the poor kids are just trying to be in a school, right?
Yes.
They probably don't need to have all that sort of be thinking about.
Well, we got
things like that.
42% truancy in New Zealand. Maybe that's avoiding school shootings because there's not as many kids there. You
That's
know?
true. That's true.
I
Well,
think
could be.
I think that America's a sick society. Not all my friends, they're great, but half of them are sick as shit. And they should be addressing that. Yeah, I know.
So mental health in the country.
Yeah. Yeah, and like the whole way history was written, you know, when the white man won, it was a battle. When the Indian won, it was a massacre, you know. Yeah. It's weird. Once I was in Florida with my brother and someone cut us off. I hate that. So I yelled out, "Hey, you asshole!" And my brother said, "Shut up! Everyone's got a gun here. He can shoot you." You know. Yeah, it's not a good place. You know.
Did you say I'm walking here? I'm walking here. Is that? Can you say that? Or is that racist? Don't people from New York say I'm walking here?
No.
Oh,
What do they say?
saw it on TikTok.
I'm walking.
No, it was Instagram. I'm walking here. Is that what you guys say?
No, walking.
Yeah.
You said walking.
Oh.
And I'm the foreigner.
Yeah.
Don't worry about it. I was trying to think of the other thing that people from New York say, but it was on the same video. But obviously you don't say that sort of stuff.
No, they might. I don't identify with
Haven't
them
been there
anymore.
in 50
He
years.
hasn't been there for a while. There you
Yeah,
go,
that's true.
why.
Yeah.
Taylor, thanks for bringing some relevant, new, hot questions to the table. Let's go. See, he's paying
Yeah, he's
attention.
good.
He's tuning in.
And for the sounds.
And for the sounds. And Hanako, one more time, thanks for the massage. Fantastic. We're going to put your contacts on the description so people can...
So the QR code is just on the screen now for Hanako.
Oh, yeah, there you go. Now we're also...
And the number as well.
We're putting some QR codes for our sponsors and supporters of the show, so you can scan the QR codes and go straight to the website or the social media of one of our sponsors or supporters. So that's a cool thing to be a sponsor or supporter of this show. See?
So, like, if I gave you some coffee LaLa, I'd be a sponsor and a supporter?
If you pay for it, absolutely.
Oh, all right.
We might. We will do it, yes. If you bring us a bag of coffee, we'll definitely put it here. I thought you would, actually. I forgot to tell you. Yes, you should. We will put it here.
Yeah.
Absolutely. People will love it.
Local.
We've done with...
Did you know we had 18 awards, national awards? Did you know that? No one's got that many.
God damn, 18.
Not even Rocket Roast.
Now Rocket Roast would probably have about 8, you know.
What about Raglan Roast?
They probably have 2.
If that, eh?
We've done with
it's
we've
joking.
done with Blue Fridge Brewery.
Yeah.
Yeah, brought some beers. We made
Do you know
good.
why it's called Blue Fridge?
Yeah, he told us this story. So probably you were part of that, right? Of that, yes.
Yeah. It was one of the first recycling things. An old fridge, what should we do with it? Mailbox on the top of the road. A couple of the local sort of farm boys. Because back then there was no one in town. Like when I moved here, there was one petrol station, one policeman, one sewing shop, one restaurant. You know, that's about it. There was 800 people in the whole area. You
And
know?
now we've got no policemen.
I mean, I was so lonely, I had to join the rugby club, you know. I mean, you should have seen a Yank hippie with long hair, you know. And there was the coach there was a guy named Harry Austin. He passed away. He was a fucking cool guy. Anyway, used to go to training, like, you know, my only sport was surfing, but...
I just want a friend.
Yeah, totally. Spike. Anyway, so I go there. So what they used to do, which pissed me off, you know, there's this training thing where you sprint around the track, and the guy at the back of the line has to run and get to the front. And then you go and you have to be fast enough to out-sprint everyone and get to the front. But every time it was my turn, they'd all speed up. And I was always in the back, you know. And then when someone would come to tackle me, I'd just throw the ball away because I didn't want to get killed. It's a really rough sport. I never got into it, but there was no choice, you know. Me and the rugby club, it was really bizarre. It's like going to church. No.
I think it's a great way to finish this show. What do you think, Taylor? Thank you very much. So, it's been a pleasure.
Same.
Wow, that was a great chat.
Oh, yeah. Will you be my friend now?
I think we're friends.
Okay, good.
I think so. Yes, please bring the coffee. Send it to us. We'll put it here and we'll offer it to some of our brave guests who would love to have a coffee at 7 p.m.
How are you going to make it? Like plunger or what do you got?
You tell us.
On this table, you might have to do drip filter, you know.
We'll do that then. That's the style in Brazil, so I'll go for that.
Okay.
Brett Soanes, thank you very much.
You're welcome.
You like when I say Soanes? I could see your face. Hector, thank you, my friend. Thank you. And we're live every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday at 7 p.m. on YouTube. And then you can access these shows on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Amazon Prime, all the main podcast platforms.
Wow.
We're there. I know, right?
Yeah.
It's cool. Subscribe to our YouTube channel to show some love and support. have a look at the ALTBAYS clips. So for the people who don't have the time to listen to the whole interview, I understand they can be long. They're too much fun. That's why we make them long. But you can go on ALTBAYS clips and actually enjoy the clips out of them. 5 minutes, 10 minutes, 1 minute, you know, highlights, if you want to call it like that. And on Monday, cool show with Mr. Ground Bacon from Barrier Air. Yeah, that's cool, eh?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's going to be a good show.
Should bring his airplane in and put it on the table.
We should do that. Thanks, Brad. Mark, what a pleasure, my friend.
Same.
I'll bring you back sometime soon for sure. We might have a debate with some pro-mining people. Would you be keen for that?
Oh, yeah. I've never lost a debate with those assholes.
Just don't set them on fire here outside. Thanks, guys. Thank you. Ciao. Bye.
Go get a massage.